Nice to see a few people out tonight. I hope our meeting will be exciting, and it's our last one of the year. So we'll wish everybody Merry Christmas later. We're just working on a little something on that, led by our musical talent to the left.
He's not here yet.
Oh, yeah. Anyways, minutes of previous meeting, December 3rd, 2013 council meetings. The minutes. Somebody.
Mayor Bridge, I'm catching up on my
Oh,
notes
yes,
here.
I need that.
There.
There. Oh, there he is.
Here he is.
A tie.
Well, you
Your
just.
worship, may I join you?
Yes, you can.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. We knew Rick was on his way, so.
I didn't expect like 2 hours to get here. I apologize.
You're looking pretty dapper.
Yeah.
Hey, dressed all up tonight. Wow.
I'm pretty good there at the Christmas party.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, we're all impressed.
We're just impressed.
Got your hair combed?
Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Turton. The minutes of the December 3rd, 2013 council meeting be approved and circulated. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Additional items is other business. Anybody additional items? I'm going to have one because we're going to maybe do a little sing-song later.
Sure.
Are you gonna talk about the Christmas party?
No, you can talk about that if you'd like.
Excellent.
Okay. Anybody has any, let me know.
Yeah, we should say something about one thing.
Yep. Plowing the resolution for moving into. Moved by Deputy Mayor Fisk, second by Councillor Caldwell, the Town of Minto Council convenes in a committee of adjustment. All in favor? I think that's where all our crowd's here for tonight, for this part, so. Crowd. I'll chair this public hearing. Any decision reached by the committee today cannot be used as to set a precedent. Each application considered by the committee is dealt with in its own merits, and no two applications are exactly the same. The public hearing is to consider a minor variance application file number A313, Paul Mannion. I'll call the secretary. I guess I'm the secretary treasurer.
No, I am.
Oh, you are. Call the secretary treasurer.
Application, here it
Bill
is.
White, to state the subject, property, municipal address, and the purpose and effect of the application, the date of notice were sent.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. The subject property is located at Part Lot 13, Concession 14, Reference Plan 60R2103 with municipal address of 6411 Highway 89, Clifford. Purpose and effect of the application is to permit the existing hobby barn to remain with an interior side yard setback of 8.88 meters or 29.1 feet to the proposed property line, whereas Section 8.3.2A of the Corporation of the Town of Minto's Comprehensive Zoning Bylaw as amended, 0186 as amended, requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 22.9 meters or 75 feet. Notices were mailed to the property owners within 200 feet or 60 meters of the lands and to applicable agencies on December 6th. Posted on the subject property on the same date. Comments were received from the town road foreman and drainage inspector with no comments. The chief building official, who is here tonight, who has a report for you as well. County of Wellington Junior Planner Jameson Pickard, comments are attached. He is stating that the variances requested would provide relief from sections 8.3.2A of the zoning bylaw. We have no concerns with the relief requested at this time. This variance will satisfy a condition of provisional approval for consent file B90/13. This application would maintain the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw and is desirable and appropriate for the development of the subject property. From the Saugeen Conservation Authority, Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority has reviewed the variance recording in accordance with their mandate. Staff report. All of the plan review functions listed in the agreement have been assessed with respect to this proposal. The authority is of the opinion that the proposed minor variance appears to conform with the relevant policies of the county official plan and provincial policies. That's all, Mayor Bridge.
Okay. Does the applicant want to present anything? The applicant here want to present anything? No? Okay, pretty well said. Okay. Terry? Our chief buildings official, Terry Kuipers, will make comments.
Basically what we have going on in this application, we've got a rural residential lot. It's approximately slightly over 5.5 acres. The plan is to sever 1.6 acres off of it and merge it with the adjacent farmland. The existing hobby barn complies with the zoning setbacks as the property stands today. Once that severance has taken place, this property line's getting moved closer to the hobby barn. So basically, this is just to legalize the existing situation once that property line shifts over.
Councillor Faulkner.
If I did the math right, so the hobby barn will be 2.5 feet now from the lot line?
No.
That's the way I read that in
Okay,
here.
sorry. The existing hobby barn's approximately 102 feet away from the property line. The property line is going to be, it's 8.88 meters at the end of the day, so 29 feet, 30 feet
Oh,
roughly, to the new property line.
Okay.
Your math wasn't right then. was
Wasn't right, it sure wasn't right.
Out about a foot.
Except the little decimal.
Don't you see that?
Any other questions, Terry?
This is the comments from the County of Wellington. There's a notation there about Wellington North zoning bylaw. I'm just wondering, is that a courtesy or why?
No.
Why would that be there?
I believe that's just an error. I'm guessing they used the same standard letter and forgot to change the headings.
Okay.
Okay.
Our bylaws are very similar, but
So
anyways.
it should be
that-
Minto
Should have been Town of Minto.
zoning
Yeah,
bylaw?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Good.
Yes.
That makes sense. Good common sense.
Anything else?
You've got no problems with that, Terry?
Nope.
I guess any persons wishing to address the committee of adjustment, please direct your questions to the chair. So any other questions? No? Okay. Terry, Bill?
Mayor Bridge, I have a resolution for council, if you'd like me to, or committee, if you'd like me to read it.
Yes.
That the Town of Minto Committee of Adjustment approves the application for minor variance by Paul Mannion for the property at Part Lot 13, Concession 14, known as 6411 Highway 89, Town of Minto, to permit the existing hobby barn to remain with an interior side yard setback of 8.88 meters to the proposed property line, whereas Section 8.3.2A of the Corporation of the Town of Minto zoning bylaw requires a minimum interior side yard setback of 22.9 meters. The committee is satisfied that the application is of a minor request. The request maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan and zoning bylaw and is desirable and appropriate for the development of the subject property. So Mayor Bridge, if you were to have that motion introduced, then there is a decision of the committee. If that passes, we'll ask the members to sign the decision as well who are in favor.
Okay. So moved by Councillor Turton, second by Councillor Elliott. Want me to read it all over again? Okay, you guys all right?
Yep.
All in favor? Terry? Get you guys to sign it. That's done.
Painless, huh?
There are strings attached.
It is Christmas.
We maybe have to move up the
It
song
is
before we leave.
Yeah, moved by Councillor Faulkner, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fisk. The Town of Minto Committee of Adjustments convenes into Committee of the Whole. All in favor? Okay. Make sure everybody signs that. And we'll, that's it.
Well, look at you, exercise girl.
Thank you very much for coming and.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
You're not going to stick around for a song?
We're gonna miss the sing song. Do we get a CD or something?
Oh, you should stick around.
You want to sing it now?
Subscribe to Wightman.
No, I guess
Get it
you
into
have to
the-
watch it. But actually, it'll be on our web telecast too
So I don't
as
have
of
to
tomorrow. You can better go on the computer and see it.
Probably gonna be a big
I just
hit
want to stay
YouTube
around,
too.
but I think it'll be a little while yet.
YouTube will pick it up.
You need to stop. YouTube will pick
Sure they
it
will.
up.
Her message is very
Go
clear. I
viral.
get that.
Oh, is that right? Did I send the wrong spot?
No, he isn't.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Public meeting, we just, question period. Any question period? No? Everybody? Good? We're all up? The question was, we're gonna not sing and we're not singing.
I'm pretty cleared out of here now.
Correspondence received for information or requiring direction of council. Where you had a chance to review the correspondence? Any questions?
Mayor Bridget, if I may, we just want to point out that they are looking for bowlers for the Big Brother,
Oh, yes.
Big Sisters of North Wellington. The mayor and our spouses just kind of carried the team for the last two years.
Heck of a bunch of bowlers, I must say.
And
And Mary Lou.
Well.
Yeah, Council Caldwell.
And I'm a very poor bowler, so if there's anyone who wants to take over,
What is the date this year?
I do not have a date yet.
December 25th.
I thought,
Goes all month. and-
I thought I was a really bad bowler too until I bowled against Merritt Tout. And I found out there's people worse than me in the room. And Randy. That
And
piece.
Rob Ford.
Well, Rob wasn't up for it.
Oh.
I don't know. Maybe he'll be up later.
The other item of correspondence that's actually in your package is notice of revised source water protection plans. So that's from the Salvo-Maitland Valley Source Protection Region. Chief Building Official is in the process of working on taking that risk management inspection services over. We have more information to come to you in a report on that in open session, but we have had a look at these preliminary changes, and I don't think we'll find any issue with them at this point. They're relatively minor, so
Very good.
along with the others, if there's a motion to receive the correspondence, unless there's something that council wishes to bring forward.
Moved by Councillor Faulkner, second by Councillor Hamley. All in favor? Carried. So we're into committee minutes for receipt. And Maitland Valley Conservation Authority Board of Directors minutes, October 16th, 2013. October 16th? Is that, yeah. Jerry, have you got anything on that you want?
Well, I just, at the last meeting, I requested that these be printed again, and
Yeah.
I also asked that councils pay special attention to the proposed carbon sequestration projects. We're in the process of planning some tree planting, and I think we could probably qualify, or we could be probably doing that project as well as this. This one doesn't cost anything, and
I guess
we can reduce our carbon footprint. There's a way to calculate what your carbon footprint is, and if we plant enough trees, hopefully we can eliminate it, or at least reduce it.
I had a little notation here. I'm just going to ask you, Terry, because you've been in the trees for Minto. You think there'd be some similar things we can?
Well, I think those trees would qualify. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just planting trees, so hopefully we're going to plant a large quantity of trees.
Yeah.
And I think they would qualify. And I can see this, right now it's just a conservation authority project, but I can see it expanding to include municipalities.
Right.
And I think we would be in a very good position to be participating and maybe set an example. So I'm going to follow it with the authority, and I'm going to probably recommend that we be part of the program. There's no cost.
No.
And we need to start doing more of these things as far as reducing the greenhouse emissions.
I have a question for Deputy Mayor Fisk, if I may, Mayor Bridge. Is there equipment available, like I know of a few, not a lot, but a few people that would be interested in planting windbreaks, tree lines separating lots, river flats, and that type of thing. But their dilemma, of course, is the equipment to plant the trees.
So they want to plant mature trees, or they want?
No. They're fine with seedlings.
Yeah. No, there's at least 3 contractors that do planting for Maitland Valley that would be available to do that.
And I think through our Trees for Minto program with Green Legacy and whatnot, there's going to be some school-age kids that are going to be helping with some of this.
hopefully
Calc
that's the
and a
case.
few of them, so I think that would be.
Yep.
Yeah, in fact, that's what we're looking for shortly in January for our next meeting, is to find people that are willing to participate in our Trees for Minto project.
And I think another thing that probably we would like to see is maybe some windbreaks planted along the highway with respect to the international plowing match that's coming in 2016.
16?
So I don't know, you're probably not at the stage yet where you're looking for that type of activity, but it would be nice to have Highway 9, windbreaks along Highway 9 for the plowing match.
Well, and the sooner you do that, the better, because it takes about 5 years, actually, before a tree literally starts growing after it's been transplanted or planted, period.
Well, we
So,
kind of thought when we had this communication with Trees for Minto was maybe we could find some more mature trees to go in a line sooner than later, like, so that maybe.
I can even tell you where there are some mature trees, and they're on town of Minto land.
I know on the 6th line.
Yeah, on the 6th line.
I saw them, and I think they're in good shape, actually. Some of the thoughts we thought about.
Beautiful trees.
Yeah.
Beautiful trees.
Anyways, all good.
Certainly.
Anything else on the minutes? Okay.
Mayor Bridge, there's 2 sets of minutes for receipt.
Yep.
Other is the economic development,
Right.
county economic development.
And I can answer any questions on that if you would like, and I've got Mandy here to back me up, so. And she just dropped something, I don't know what she said.
It was liquid.
I'll just point out a couple things on it, though. On the workforce strategy prioritization sessions, it says in here, support new immigrants and youth in the community. I just want to point out, we did a bus trip through the immigration with 22 people on a bus that visited four industries. It was at the Norwell Dairy, Wasauce and Arthur, Wellington Terrace and Royal Terrace, and they had their suits, they had their resumes, and I haven't heard back if there's any jobs came out of that, but it was a great bus trip. So that's just some of the things that are going on now. And the other thing on number 4, incubator models to promote new business, is a county strategy, and of course we're going to be doing an incubator, so we could be the
On
pilot.
the county level?
No, this will be on, like,
Just town of Minto.
Town of Minto's doing it, but they'll be looking at ours as sort of a pilot
Yep.
project, because it's one of the things that they'd like to do down the road in different areas of Wellington County. So anyways, just a couple things there. Anything else on those that you want to talk about? Okay. And we have a motion to pass those 2 sets of minutes. We got Councillor Turton and Deputy Mayor Fisk. All in favor? I had you last time. Had to spread it around. Okay. Spread the wealth. Spread the wealth. And next up, we have cultural roundtable minutes, and there she is. Like, I look up and there's Mandy going to be talking about these.
I spilt my hot chocolate, so I apologize.
Well,
It was a white hot chocolate though, so it doesn't stain.
That's interesting.
So the Cultural Roundtable held its regular meeting on Monday, December 2nd. And in late February or early March, the Cultural Roundtable is looking at hosting a live clue game and dinner at the Micklejohn Bed and Breakfast. And the cost will be set at $25 per person with a maximum of 20 participants. The committee agreed that the Culture Bus has been a huge success in the past years, but would like to look at other options for the upcoming year. A suggestion of hosting a doors open event was mentioned, and the committee agreed that this would work if there were set times for each location. That way it would limit the downtime at certain buildings. A cemetery walk was another idea brought forward, and the cemetery walk would highlight certain individuals that have passed, including who they were, what they did, and their accomplishments. The Symposium for Performing Arts in Rural Communities, SPARK, has accepted our application to speak. The symposium takes place from April 24th to the 27th in Halliburton. Mayor Bridge, Gordon Duff, and Nicola McEwen will be presenting members, and the group will be presenting a workshop focused on cultural mapping. The Minto Community Gardens have gained momentum, and on December 10th at 6:30 we had our first meeting moving forward with the project. The community gardens will be a committee under the Cultural Roundtable and reporting back monthly. The gardens will be fully accessible and will be located at the old Harriston tennis courts, charging a minimal amount for rent. And the town will be looking at pursuing concerts in the park this summer. The concerts will move from community to community, featuring local talent, and would be held on a monthly basis. I'm all nervous from dropping that hot chocolate. The Economic Development and Planning Committee. Matthew Lubers, Recreation Services Manager and Accessibility Clerk, gave a presentation to the committee on the Accessibility for Ontarians with Disabilities Act, the AODA, with a specific attention paid to the Accessible Customer Services Standard. The committee reviewed the Harriston Downtown Revitalization Committee minutes, Palmerston Downtown Revitalization Committee minutes, and the Clifford Downtown Revitalization minutes. And if you look there, there is a picture of the mural that will be going on the side of Larry Grummett Insurance in Clifford, sorry. The Minto Creative Industry Incubator Ad Hoc Committee has met twice. They've discussed some possible funding streams for the project in 2014. The town has $30,000 in the 2014 draft operating budget to cover renovations and year one operating costs. The Chamber of Commerce is prepared to commit $10,000, with Savor the Flavors committing $2,000, and the County of Wellington has some funds available. The ad hoc committee recommends the incubator be governed by a committee of council for the first few years, with the possibility of incorporation and a board of directors in the future, depending on the success. We met again on December 4th, and the committee reviewed the Business Development Coordinator job description, which is attached. The committee suggested that the new position be a contract position paid by the town of Minto with the option to extend the contract. Advertising for this position should begin in early January with an hourly pay range of $15 to $20 per hour, depending on experience and education. And the committee would like to apply for the Rural Economic Development Grant, the RED grant, during the third application intake, which is from January 1st to February 28th. The potential incubator space at 1 Elora Street, Harriston, has been laid out really well for our purposes, and in order to keep startup costs low, the committee identified some areas in which money could be saved. The committee reviewed the Business Development Coordinator job description, and as I said, that is attached. And they put a motion forward, moved by Jonathan Zettler, second by John Mock, that the Economic Development and Planning Committee recommend to the Town of Minto Council that the attached Business Development Coordinator job description be approved, and further that it be advertised in early January 2014. The committee reviewed the lease agreement for 1 Elora Street, Harriston, Unit 4, which is also attached. And a motion was put forward, moved by Mary Lou Caldwell, seconded by John Mock, that the Economic Development and Planning Committee recommend to the Town of Minto Council that Bill White enter into lease negotiations, including Mr. McLaughlin's leasehold improvements and furniture. And then, the Ontario Investment Ready Certified Site Program is a province-wide investment attraction program that provides financial and marketing support to those who complete a set of requirements and due diligence for an eligible property. An investment-ready site designation gives investors a greater degree of certainty when looking for development opportunities in Ontario municipalities. And staff will be obtaining more information in regards to this program. And some exciting news from the County of Wellington. A budget of $175,000 has passed at the Economic Development Committee level. And if this budget is passed by the County of Wellington Council, it would represent a matching grant of up to $25,000 per municipality towards programs such as facade and signage, community gardens, incubators, etc. And that's
Questions for Andy? That's a lot of minutes.
A lot of minutes.
Councillor Elliott.
The facade grant that the Wellington County are offering, how and who would apply, or would they apply to the town of Minto, or would they apply directly to Wellington County?
So through you, Mayor Bridge. My understanding is if this is passed through the County of Wellington, it will be $25,000. As long as we have programs in place, there's about 20 stipulations, and I think we match about 16 of them, and which would qualify us for that funding. So then it's up to the town to decide how we would use that $25,000.
So your economic development would probably, as before, would receive the applications and then refer them to council for acceptance?
It was just, that we got limited money, Ron, but that we could match that money with the county, but use our program.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah.
just as long as that,
No,
I
that's-
know it's going to the Economic Development Committee who would recommend it back to us.
It's a way the county can help us try to get our downtowns revitalized and get commercial money going, so, good.
Everything's good.
Anybody, Terry?
Just a couple questions. The business development coordinator, will that person be housed here, or will that person be at the unit number 4 and the one in Laura?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sure. So through you, Mayor Bridge, that person would be housed at the Unit 4, the incubator location, and it would be split 50-50 with the Town of Minto and the Chamber of Commerce. It would just be run through the Town of Minto.
Another question regarding the lease. The mentions regarding subletting. Is there potential to be more than one incubator there at a time? Or one business at a time?
Mayor Bridge, if I may, that's a clause we're going to need to change because we will be subletting to up to 6,
Yeah.
hopefully 6 creative entrepreneurs
Yeah.
in there. So that clause will need to be amended.
And they know that. I mean, that they know what we're using it for, so
Yeah.
it shouldn't be a problem.
I just wondered, because of the way it reads now, every time somebody would come in, we'd have to get another agreement from them or get their approval. And we don't want to be holding people up waiting for
Good
an
point.
approval, so.
Yep. Anything else? Well, I think it's great. Some great initiatives there. We're moving forward, and Economic Development Committee is really doing an excellent job. Rick? Right?
Excellent job. Unbelievable.
All right.
Losing all you hot chocolate girl now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm so
Mayor Bridge, we
embarrassed.
just need a motion to receive the minutes and approve the recommendations in the minutes.
Councillor Caldwell? Councillor Faulkner, all in favor? Carried. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay, we're on staff reports, and I'll turn it over to Councillor Caldwell. Assume the chair.
Okay. And we have some exciting ones tonight. Treasurer Duff will first of all talk the approval of accounts, and then we're going to go into the asset management plan and the tax collector minutes and settlement. So we'll start with the approval of accounts.
Great. Thank you, Chair Caldwell. We have a large dollar amount, but a relatively simple one there. We have $2,132,000, and of that, $1,765,000 is for our upper tier and school board remittances that are due December 15th there. We also have another $62,000 on the Harrison Fire Hall, and some remainder work on the catch basin sidewalks and that. And one of the inputs for our management plan is the bridge and culvert and the road needs study, and that's about $19,000 from Triton there. And a bit more work on the sewer infiltration project, about $32,000 there, and some camera work for $12,000 in the sewer. And those are the main highlights.
Does anyone have any questions? Yes, Councillor Faulkner.
The road and roads and bridge study.
Yes.
And I don't know why.
The next item on the agenda,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
asset
But
management.
can we come in and where is it so that we can?
You can have a look at all 630
Yeah, I
pages
know,
of the
it's
bridge one.
No, I realize it's
Yeah.
huge, but it's of great interest to me. And
Yes,
Chair Caldwell, we will have the consultant come in and present the documents to you in the new year. So that
Okay.
you see the contents.
okay.
Yeah, they're going to do that January.
and Mayor Bridge?
And if you do come in, then it is 600. It's a daunting piece of work, but they did a really good job of the indexing. And so if you're looking for specifics and you can find things, it's very easily read to find stuff. I mean, you can.
So it's
read all-
available if we come in.
Oh, yeah, it's right here. It'll be, yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, Councillor Elliott.
Through you to Gordon, the infiltration How close are we budgeted, Pat, on the budget, and how close are we going to be?
I think we're very close. I believe it was 400,000 that we budgeted, and I happened to be looking at that, and we were at 396.
And we're close to
Yeah.
being done with finding everything we need to find out about it?
I believe so for this phase. Perhaps Brian in his annual recap, that'll be one of his highlights. but-
Yeah, the final invoice came in for that section, for the manhole parts of it, so it's all completed.
Great.
I think the last invoice came in last week.
Yeah, and as I say, I just happened to be looking at that this afternoon. so,
Thank you.
yeah.
Deputy Mayor Fitz?
Through you, Chairman Caldwell, do we have all the bills in for the fire hall?
I don't
expansion?
believe so. No, we were at 544, and I looked that one up today too. That's what I was working on. So I know there's more to come, but I'm not exactly sure which progress certificate they're at.
Thank you.
Just on the fire hall, when we did go through the building, we were told that we were still within our contingency amounts there, so unless something changed here in the last few weeks, we're still good. So the fire chief has had his thumb down on the contractor.
Lots of on-site meetings.
Thank you, Chairman Cole. Does it really matter to our accounting whether the bills are in before the end of 2013 or not, Court?
The sooner they come in, the sooner we can close the year. That's the main thing. As soon as they're like recorded, then I can look at the report and know that they're in there. And we've done our usual, we've done this for about the last 3 years. We've kind of requested some of our larger suppliers to make sure they bill us all their time right up to December 31st. So that's why it's out. We usually cut off February 15th or so.
If the work was done in
Right.
2013, it should be recorded as 2013.
That's right.
Yes, Mayor Bridge?
And I think that's why we've been very wanting that to happen, because this year we're hoping to get the budget done in January. And it's tough
Right.
on Gord because
Because the year end won't be
it
done.
won't be
no,
done,
no.
but we want to make sure there's no big surprises if, 'cause, you know, that when we're doing it to a zero-based budget, I would assume, but that's why we want to make sure it's done.
Thank you, Chair
Sure.
Caldwell. So that was kind of my point. These two jobs are pretty well finished, the fire hall and the infill
That's right.
I&I. So, I mean, there's really no reason why they shouldn't be.
Right.
There'll be holdbacks and that kind of thing.
Okay, if there's no other questions, the recommendation is the Council of the Town of Minto receives the Treasurer's report dated December 3rd, 2013 regarding approval of accounts and approves the Town of Minto accounts by department for December 2013. May I have someone make that motion, please? Councillor Turton, Councillor Elliott, seconds. All in favor? And passed. And before we go on to the second item of the agenda, I would be remiss not to congratulate Gord, Bill, our co-op student, I'm sure I've forgotten your name
Jackie,
already.
yeah.
Anyone else
Jackie.
involved in this wonderful document, because we have to be extremely proud of this asset management plan, the amount of work that's gone into it, the detail in it. You've done a beautiful job, and I thank you very much on behalf of the council.
Well, thank you very much, Chair Caldwell. It certainly does represent a lot of work back from when Kelly and I started doing PSAB in 2008. And for anyone who hasn't formally met, it's Jackie Chung, our Conestoga College co-op student, and this has been her main project, that's for sure. And I think you've all had some training. So this overall, we followed the principles in the famous Building Together book that the province has supplied us. And this is great for getting the overall and the elements, but to find actual examples has been a real task, and Jackie has looked a lot, and there's a bit of an Australian content to our plan, because we were able to find more examples there of the mechanics of how to lay out some of this stuff. So a lot of it we've taken Western Canada, Australia, UK, and the provincial ones that we could find, and we've kind of adapted to ourselves. And we've used citywide software to help us in it, and of course the aforementioned bridge and road need study in that too. But basically, this one will be a bit unique. I think it's kind of our format that we've come up with. So I'm not going to go through everything in detail for sure, and certainly I'm open to questions, but I just thought I'd hit some of the highlights just to guide you through it. After the cover page, we have the table of contents, and that kind of lays out in order what the plan is all about. There's 6 core asset classes, and they're roads, bridges, culverts, stormwater, wastewater, and water. And we've included stormwater and streetlights in here, and it's kind of on the periphery, but it was easier for us to do that one too. So we still want to get in the other asset classes, but those classes represent about 87% of the worth of the assets of the town of Minto. So it's unbelievable how much all those pipes in the ground and water towers and sewer plants, we have a lot of dollars tied up in that one too. One of the main tasks is to get a state of our local infrastructure. So PSAB gave us the inventory, what we have, but what we have to do is, okay, what would it cost to replace it, and what condition is it in? And that's where we come up with on using the road needs study, the bridge study, and unfortunately it's not financially possible to go and camera all our pipes and stormwater and that too. So we've taken an AIDS-based look, all things being equal, an older pipe is going to be in rougher shape than the newer one, but we've also tempered that with consulting our public works staff and their local knowledge as to the type, maybe, plastic pipe versus asbestos concrete or whatever, and what condition it's in there too. So I'm just going to highlight a couple of things. We have some charts on pages 11, 12. And this shows how you can get different information. And again, this report is meant to be more of a higher, mid to high level thing. Each individual figure may be controversial or whatever, but I think if you get the overall trend. So this is looking at an asset class, in this case roads, and basically this is AIDS-based. And you look and you go, oh, what, 65% of our roads have expired. That's not good. But that's an accounting concept. That's taking what the predicted useful life is. This chart includes the base of the road and the surface, and most of the rest are just the surface. So maybe we've said there's a 50-year useful life for the road base. Well, it's built in 1955 or whatever. It's gone. However, you'll see subsequently, once we take the conditions, it's not as bad as that.
That one scared me at the start.
For sure. Yeah. And go to the next one.
Oh, boy.
So, Gord, if I may,
Sure.
Chair Caldwell?
Yes.
In respect to the road age, like for instance, I recall when I moved up to this community in 1974,
Right.
our road was gravel. And then I believe it was about 1988 that it was tar and chipped.
Possibly, yeah.
I'm just using that as rough
Sure.
figures, but does that take into that account?
Yeah, so we take a gravel road we're saying is going to last like a couple of years. It's almost like a maintenance item. Tar and chip, we're saying 7 to 10 years, and asphalt maybe 15 to 20.
Okay.
And that's where it goes in there too. And we've dug up, again, taking senior public works people and some information from our engineers and tried to nail that down. Some cases, whatever the collective memory isn't there, they're not sure when that road was built. So a bit of an
And it
estimate
also
there.
would depend on the amount of traffic and on the road
Very
and
true.
the type of traffic as well.
That's
If it's
right.
trucks versus cars primarily. And
Yeah, no, that's for sure. In our next charts, so we'll go next one. And that's again our linear assets by age. But here we're putting in the results from our roads and our bridges study, and things look a lot better. This is the condition. So that recognizes all the betterments, all the repaving, all the surface treatments, all that kind of thing. So you're trying to assemble all the bits of information into one. So there, you've got a good state there. Bridges, same thing. You'll notice we have one critical bridge there, and that's the one that we talked about in our last grant application, the one on the third line there. Okay, next one, culverts. Water, again, we've invested very heavily in water assets over the last decade for sure. and wastewater too. You know, there's some issues there, definitely, and but on the whole, not too bad. And there's one more, stormwater. Stormwater, I think we found the toughest because there isn't as much there. Like you're aware, we had a water and wastewater study. We didn't have a stormwater study. So the data is a little more skimpy there. So that tends to be a bit on how old is the pipe. And, you know, they were kind of guessing at the condition there. Now, levels of service. So levels of service is basically, we have our assets, we know the condition. How are they performing? Is the pipe letting the water through? Is the road letting the traffic go? And how do you look at that? You can look at performance measure standards. You can look at the number of breaks in a season, the number of, you know, how's the road tested, things like that too. And then, as Chair Caldwell says, you have to look at the traffic count and drainage. So there's a lot of factors, and it's explained in great detail here if you're interested of what goes into there. So that is your level of service. And this is kind of our, I guess, methodology. And you can see all the different factors. So we give numerical scores to this. So we're trying to bring some quantitative measures to some qualitative aspects of it too. And you know, we're looking at where is the asset, what's the likelihood if it fails. If it fails, is it important? You might have a, you know, dead-end road with two houses. It's important to those people, but maybe not so much. Whereas if it's a commuter road, as I was mentioning this morning, a previous road study indicated the Ayton Road was a very important artery. It was in poor condition and heavily used. So that kind of went to the top, and I think that's what you'll see on these bridges. And I know that the government's going to look at these things. Have we considered the importance of the asset before we ask for money to go and repair it there? And then next one. So this is looking kind of a matrix of risk management. So you're trying to give a value to what's the likelihood that it will fail. And this is very similar methodology to our emergency measures, to our drinking water standard. You're trying to measure the hazards and you know, concentrate on the ones that have a high probability of failure and a high consequence. And I think that's the next one. There. So there's a recap from roads, and this is like a graph or chart that comes from citywide based on the conditions and the aids too. So in the lower left, we have 90 assets, and I think that's historical cost, with a low probability of failure and a low consequence. So that's not where you're going to concentrate. You're going to concentrate on the upper right hand where you have high consequence of failure and high probability too. And so that's kind of like a starting point. Then you go and dig further. Okay, what are those 9 roads? You know, and you know, I hope that, you know, when we set our capital budget next month, we at least consider this. You know, maybe there's something right there.
So would you have had the information from the roads needs study to incorporate it into this particular
Exactly.
meeting?
Yeah, we got the bridges about 4 weeks ago, and we got the roads about 2 or 3. So we've been very busy putting in ratings and that too, and then we sent those ratings on to BM Ross too, and it filters into the next one. So yes, we have.
Can you explain what a road failure would be? Like what the extent of a road failure would
They
be?
have, what is it, RCR? I'm sure Mike and Brian can do a lot better job on this, but it's basically, is it a ride critical rating? And there's like your, you know, the shoulders breaking up or it's cracking or...
Yeah, and the base is starting to go old with frost, heaving and stuff like that. It gives way, all the fine granulars are washed away through it. So it's based on that, basically, the edge of the road, all broken up. If it's a tar and chip or an asphalt road, how bad a condition and cracking, longitudinal cracking in the road is.
All those things. So it's kind of like, I know a huge item is always our surface treatments, and it's usually, what, 300,000. But if we don't do that, then we're going to get into these failures. So it's a balance between rehab and treatment.
But I guess where I'm coming from is I see the dollars beside
Yeah.
these critical.
True.
and obviously we don't have those dollars to deal with all of the critical. How do we decide the level of critical?
Yeah, that's kind of where,
That's part if you're the foreman of public works.
that is one of the criteria, but yes.
I don't think the mayor said that, did they? What do you know? CEO. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
some
Your
of
worship. What?
It's a guy in a suit, I don't know. But yes, that's one of the things that you've got to look at. You get into the level of service and say, okay, the critical roads, can we afford to fix them? Can we afford not to fix them, too? That's the other thing,
A
too.
good example might be for the fourth line, where it had the bad grade on it. And then we went in, and it was actually close to the top of the roads where it needed to be done. It was that bad a shape. So we look at it pretty close before we make a decision on which ones we can do and which ones we can't.
Yes.
It was a real appropriate time, thank you, Chair Caldwell, to have
Have the road and need study, otherwise this report likely wouldn't be as accurate as it is. And I mean, when you look at some of your graphs and stuff, which are wonderful, beautiful,
Yes.
they're easy to read, and some of the, on the right-hand side, you've got some unknowns.
Right.
Likely, without the road and culvert and bridge study, there would have been more to the right, under unknown.
Yeah, that's true. And what we've done, and in the citywide, we had, I think, 2007 and 2009, and another bridge study, I believe. So we've taken all those, so you can archive it again. So going in, if you have a particular asset you want to investigate, you can see, okay, well, in 2007, that was rated an 8, and now it's rated a 6, and, you know, and what's your critical factor?
Yes, Mayor Bridge.
And I think, Councillor Caldwell, one thing I was discussing with the group too was we can take this with the 9 or 10. I think it would be ideal for the council to see when we're going into the budget process where what those actual assets are, what those roads are, what those bridges are, so that when we're dealing with it, we can also talk to the public about how we're identifying. And some of them could be critical, but not necessarily used as much as others. So there'll be areas, I know when you look at those numbers, there's no way, and you being a financial wizard, understand we can't come up with those dollars. So there'll have to be some compromises one way or the other. But I think going forward, we have a great program now is for us to make some really good decisions based on what those needs are.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair Caldwell. And, you know, when we have a road that has came up in the need study that needs to be repaired or fixed or whatever, and we have unhappy people along the roadway, the one that's going to be fixed, we can invite them to look at
Certainly.
exactly what the road needs study has said.
Right.
And I think it's going to be a great tool.
I think so, for sure.
Yes, Councillor Elliott.
Thank you. We did a road study and we did the verification of how you did your strategic assets by that. But did you have to do studies? How did you verify all your numbers for
That's,
all the strategic assets?
that's one of
Or
the-
did they take their word for it?
that's one of our next steps, because as I say, we just got, some of it we got 5 or 6 weeks ago, some we got 3 weeks ago. So we've entered it in, you know, one thing, okay, did we enter it in the right way, or, you know, so those are the things that you want to do further investigation in. But I'm sure, as our CEO said, you're going to see the very lengthy roads and bridge study presented formally in January, and the methodology, even to a finance person like me, it looks pretty good what they've done, and it's fairly understandable. There's lots of pictures and all that of how they've done it. It looks very thorough, and even looking again at a lot of other examples of plans, you see the same terminology coming up too. So it's not perfect, but I think it is more comfortable than maybe it has been.
So when a government looks at it, they can say, yeah, this is
That's right.
This
They
is
kn-
truly what's happening in your community. It's
Right.
not just taken from here.
Yeah, like for example, that bridge we were talking about, it's BCI, I guess, Bridge Condition Indicator. It's a 25. Most of ours are 75. So you say, yeah, that's in bad shape, you know.
Okay,
And it's not off.
thanks, Gordon.
And one of the other things that Gord mentions in here, that it's a living document. So
True.
it's something that is constantly changing, constantly being updated as we get more information and as obviously assets change.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. And this is an example just of looking at levels of service, for want of a better name, and how they're performing according to a set criteria. And here you can see most of the roads are kind of in the middle there. There's some very good ones, there's a few not so good ones, but most of them are kind of in that fair to good category there, according to all the factors that go into a level of service. I think the next few are very similar for the different categories. Bridges, water again, wastewater, very few critical ones there, and the stormwater that's in the middle there. There we are. So those are kind of the highlights there. Just a couple of other remarks in here. The financial strategy, that's identifying the infrastructure gap and how you're going to fill it. And again, that's an important thing to work on. There's so many different ways. I know we talked about, do you fund for historical costs? You know that's going to be inadequate. Replacement costs today, replacement cost end of life. Replacement cost end of life is the ideal, but the numbers get pretty scary. That's when you get into your $6 or $7 million a year, and you know, $4 million tax levy, that's just not possible. So you can look at that too. And anyway, a lot has gone in, but there's more to do. We want to incorporate the recreation, the fire, the admin, and all the other assets too, and then take another look at this. You know, have more internal training in that too. But we're certainly on our way, and our January 10th deadline, they're already requesting a copy of this to go in for it. So I'm sure the government will use it for future funding applications for sure. So anyway.
So once again, before, I just want to thank Jackie, now I know your name, and Gordon, Bill, anyone else involved in this. You've done an excellent job here. Is there any further questions before we have the recommendation? Yes?
Through you, Chairman Caldwell. I noticed that the citywide software says that we need to spend approximately $5 million a year more in capital
According to that end of life replacement.
And does it give you any indication where we might get that $5 million?
That's the other module, I think, that isn't quite up and running.
Gotta get that module.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I find really useful is page 64. I don't want to be sitting on council in the year 2027.
That's an interesting one. That particular chart is one that, well, like I was playing around with different like defaults and all that too. And then Jackie finally, this is the one here. That chart,
64.
yeah, she went painfully through an asset by asset and build up what was there. And yeah, it's like, pow. So that could be, maybe we're trying to guess at how old certain ones are. And if the guess was 1980 or something, here we go. So. But yeah, if you look at other municipalities, they do get into that. There's a place where, you know, a lot of work was done in the 1960s and early 70s, like all through Ontario and Canada. And unfortunately, you are going to hit those peaks, you know. So some of it, like, I don't totally buy that, but it's not totally wrong either. So anyway, we're at.
Yes.
Chair Caldwell, I just wanted to say that I know Gordon worked very hard on it, and Jackie, and all of Treasury, and also Public Works as well.
Sure.
Really,
Thank you, yes.
I certainly didn't have very little to do with it. They were working very hard on their own on that, and I just wanted to let council know that they did an excellent job from my perspective as well.
And again, we're fortunate in Minto, our departments work together where, so, you know, I think they can see it.
When did you start this?
Really, we started in 2008, like when Kelly and I were trying to work on the PSAB inventory to acquire the data, because until then, the accounting rules were totally different. You bought something, you wrote it off, you didn't think about it again.
Right.
And the accounting rules, and you know, where people say, well, what are you getting out of this, all this, you know, accounting changes and all that, I think this is what we're getting. We're getting better information for you and the staff to make, and better public education in that too. So it's a long process, and it's certainly not complete.
So you get out into the municipal circles. Is there other groups, other municipalities that are as far as you are? Like,
Well, technically it's mandatory.
it is?
And I was just chatting with one of our engineers at 4 o'clock, and not everybody's going to be done. They're not, because it's put a real strain on the consultants, not to mention software suppliers and that too. And, if you don't have this data, it takes a lot of time to gather and a lot of expense. Like, we got a $24,000 grant a few years ago and a $9,000 grant. This is a lot more than $35,000, yeah.
And just in summing up, and I think you just hit the nail in the coffin on that one, was the fact that a lot of other municipalities had to go out and get consultants to do this. We did this in-house, and again, what Councillor Caldwell has said, kudos to you guys for doing that, because it's very hard. But I think we get a better product from it because, as you mentioned, the department heads, you work well together, and I think that teamwork shows big time in this. And Jackie, you did a great job, and I know it was your life for the last few months, and about 8 or 9, I guess, two sessions, and it really helped Gord. I know he's really appreciative of it.
For sure.
And what I hope will happen is when all these asset management plans get into the government and they see, we'll get out of this constant situation where we continue to have to go up in a lottery system to find out if we can fix a bridge or not fix a bridge or fix a road. And this just puts it all into a nutshell and says basically we need sustainable funding. And we have it sort of with the federal gas tax, but we need it with the province as well. And in order to try to get to this 2027, if we don't have that, you can imagine, I wouldn't want to be the Ontario government, the federal government in 2027 either, but they know there's a big problem out there, and hopefully by having this, and Gordon, you and I have had discussion,
Certainly, yeah.
it brings it to what we talk about, running the town like a business. And this allows us to do that kind of, because we can sort of sit there, but the problem is, and Deputy Mayor Fisk mentioned it, where's the money? And I totally agree with what he's saying. There's $5 million or whatever. How do we get there? We can't get there, we know, financially, but without the government help. And everybody out there, all our taxpayers have to understand, they're paying provincial and federal taxes to help our roads and all that stuff. We pay gas tax and all the other things. It can't be on property tax base.
It just can't
happen. We know it can't happen. We can't fix a bridge at $600,000 on property taxes alone. So I'm hopeful that this will, any future governments will look at this and say, there's the problem, let's try to find a way to fix it.
Great, yeah, totally true.
Thank you.
Yep.
Councillor Faulkner, you have a question?
Page 39.
Oh, you got a colored picture there.
Got a colored picture here.
Oh, yeah.
And it just, I think I've got them all except the second picture from the top.
You want to know where that is, right?
Yes.
That's a really scenic area, and we took these pictures on, I think, the last nice day.
Is that up the second?
Yes, I think so. It's in the southwest corner of Minto.
Corner there.
Yeah.
Not far from Terry.
Yeah, not far.
Very
But
scenic.
not on Terry Road.
No, but near Terry.
The second, the bridge is on.
North of you, I'd say. There you go. Yeah.
Fifth line, yeah.
That was wild. We were out there taking pictures, and the cattle was under the trees watching us, and there wasn't a soul in sight. It was weird, yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, once again, thank you again. This will be a wonderful document for ourselves and future councils to make decisions at budget time and to look at the future down the road.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the recommendation is the Council of the Town of Minto receives the December 10th, 2013 report from the Treasurer and adopts the attached asset management plan. May I have someone move that, please? Mayor Bridge, seconded by Councillor Faulkner. All in favor? Opposed? And passed. Thank you. And the final item on the agenda is Treasurer and Tax Collector minutes of settlement.
Right, so again, these are when people have either appealed their taxes or there's been a reduction because of a change in the actual asset or a change in class. And the most expensive one here, this is one of our familiar ones where due to a property sale or due to an error, whatever, a property's gone from farmland back into residential, and then it gets corrected through here. But unfortunately, we have to tax on the return roll, and here we are. So our share of this group is 2,483 out of the 6,790.
Okay, are there any questions? Then the recommendation is that the December 2013 report is attached with regards to assessment adjustments be approved. May I have someone make a motion? Councillor Turton, seconded by Councillor Elliott. All in favor? And passed. And
thanks
thank
very
you
much.
very much. And I turn the chair back to Mayor Bridge. Yes.
Oh, right on. It's a living document, so be careful around it. Right. And I'll have the chief building official, as he's already there, do his monthly report.
All right, November of 2013, we issued 5 building permits worth a touch over $3 million. Unfortunately, didn't keep up with the 8.3 we issued last year at this time. Year to date, we're sitting at 148 permits worth a little over $15.25 million, which is about $2 million higher than our rolling 10-year average. I'd just like to point out, I checked out what our stats are for our residential development for the year. We have issued so far 15 single-family dwellings. The 4 permits I issued for the multiples, one's a 4-plex, and we got 3 semis in there. So we're sitting at 25 new units this year compared to 27 of last year. So I think overall it's still looking pretty good. Any questions?
I just point out that what I looked at too is the commercial permits are up by 4.5 million. And they're like, you've got 11, I'm sorry, commercial and industrial. You have 15 instead of 7. So that's good because we want to get some commercial and industrial assets on our books to help our residential. So that's a nice increase. It's at 4.5 million this year and was said like 2.6 last year.
Yep.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on next year, Terry? Have you had much?
It's typical, the same as this point every year. There is a lot of door knockers, people checking things out, which is always a good sign. That means people are looking and are interested. Yeah, hopefully it's going to be a really busy year next year, but yeah, time will tell.
Yeah. Motion to receive, Councillor Caldwell, Councillor Elliott, all in favor? Carried. Okay, thanks, Terry. And you're up again on the Public Works appointment of bylaw officer.
Yes, I had conversations with the Public Works Director, and they've identified a problem in our urban centers, being now that we've got some snow sitting on the ground with vehicles parking on the street overnight. We've got a parking bylaw that prohibits it, but unfortunately some people just aren't listening. In the past, Public Works, their patrol guys had put warning stickers on the vehicles telling them, smarten up, don't do it again. Unfortunately, it never really seemed to make any sort of difference. So the people who enforce this bylaw primarily are the OPP. It's obviously not a priority item for them. They've got other stuff to do in addition to laying parking tickets. And myself and my bylaw enforcement officer can do it as well. Problem is I'm not up at 4:30 in the morning to get these people. So the proposal that Brian and I have in front of you is to appoint 3 of the Public Works guys to be bylaw enforcement officers for the purpose of enforcing the parking bylaw. This isn't going to be checking in front of Tim Hortons or anything like that. The intent is just to catch the people who are parking overnight impeding snow removal. That's what the intent is. Yes.
I guess my question when I read this was the logistics of it again. I'm sure Brian's not up every morning at 4:30 in the morning either. If these 3 individuals are not plowing snow, how does it get enforced?
These 3, and Brian can correct me, are the principal patrol people.
Patrol.
They're the guys who
Okay.
go out prior to the plows going out.
Okay.
So they're going to be out there, and it takes all of 5 minutes or so to write up a parking ticket, so it's not
So
like they're
these
going to
three
be...
individuals will be in seeing the cars and actually
Yeah.
doing the tickets? It's not that someone has to call and wake you up and,
Oh, no.
okay.
If,
I'm usually in by 7 anyway, so if Mike and them can't do it, I gotta get up at 4:30, I'll get up at 4:30 to do the patrols.
yeah, and the OPP are around. We did have conversations with them, and a bunch of parking tickets had been laid in the last week. So hopefully that's got the message across, but this is just still a nice thing to have kind of in the toolbox that if we need to, we can do it. We don't have to run around and yeah, pretend we know what we're doing. We'll already have it in place.
Councillor Faulkner.
Just a
Councillor Ellis.
question, how did they receive the news that they might be bylaw enforcement officers?
Open arms.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I guess the vehicles are in their way and,
It takes a lot of time and effort to come back around on a road. because
You bet.
When you come out in around vehicles, it's
sure does.
Yeah.
Do they have the right to tow?
No. Well, yes and no. In the bylaw itself, it's written that the OPP are the only ones that can tow under the provisions of the parking bylaw. However, at the same breath, the roads are still our property. If we have to, we could. I wouldn't recommend it. If we're going to go down that route, I'd let the OPP do it.
Get them to
Oh, yeah.
do the,
Make it, yeah.
through the towing association,
Yeah.
okay?
Councillor Elliott.
This is great for the winter, but in the summer and when we have no snow, we still have large vehicles, for example, parked on the streets all night and parked on the wrong side of the road and where there's no parking and such like. And in fact, if we needed an emergency vehicle to get down those streets, sometimes they're not quite available to do that. And it also, economically, it ruins your, when you drive around town and you've got all these trucks parked where they shouldn't be, or large vehicles, makes it difficult. People park their RVs and such like. Are we going to have these people enforce that too
No.
at that time?
One thing to keep in mind, the parking overnight is in place for snow removal. It's in effect from November 1st to March 31st, between the hours of 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. The only intent of that is for snow removal. You can park on the streets during the summer. You cannot park a commercial motor vehicle in a residential area overnight. That's against the bylaw,
So
but
that would be a truck.
that would be a truck over, I believe it's 6,000 kilos, gross vehicle weight. So it's, and also Public Works are not out at 4:30 in the morning during the summer hours, I'm assuming not.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We
the-
hear about it and we get
Yeah.
complaints about it. And I notice myself that when you go down the streets, you'll see cars parked across from each other and we don't have no parking on either side. And you're lucky to be able to get your car between there. And if we ever got into a situation where there was an emergency fire or an ambulance or such like had to get down there, and they're fairly large, to get through there, they probably couldn't. Should we be looking at enforcing or creating a bylaw to try and make the, so we don't have that?
Well, the OPP, they're on contract to do it. If it's a problem, this intent is just, it's not to take away any powers from the OPP, it's just to help us solve the problem that we have. If there's concerns with that, maybe we can take it up with the OPP. If you're looking at having someone enforcing that, that means you're going to have...
Maybe we should be looking at parking on one side of the street, wherever we are.
And that can be done through an amendment to the parking bylaw. The question then would be, who's going to be enforcing that? Are we still expecting the OPP to do it, or?
We can't enforce something if we don't have it covered.
That's correct, yeah, we'd have to amend it, we'd have to post everything if there's, identified problems. Typically, that's only in narrower streets, like your Miller Crescents and,
Well, even
that sort
Prospect
of thing.
Street, it's a fairly large street. Where I live on, you get two vehicles, sometimes you can't get through.
Yeah, if, that's one thing through, amending the parking bylaw we could do. That's going to address it on paper. It would just be an enforcement issue after that.
At least we can enforce it if we have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, Ron, there, if you have those situations, identify them to the staff and we can look at them.
Well, I certainly have.
Yeah, and I know, speaking of commercial vehicles, I know that there has been a few complaints in the past and our bylaw officers have gone and rectified the problem. So like where people would park a truck overnight on the street or whatever, I don't believe they can even park it in their driveway, commercial
Not
vehicle.
in a residential zone.
Residential zone. So there, we'll do those on a one-off, I think, but
Yep.
I think this is a great opportunity for our guys to maybe clean up the problem they've got for the winter, especially they're out there anyways.
And it's not going to take much. Well, I know the OPP laid 6,
Yep.
I laid 1, so the word's going to be getting out there.
Yep.
Once that starts happening, then the problem's going to go away. But at least we have the tools on hand to do it.
Any other questions? I have a motion. But, Deputy Mayor Fisk? Yep. Councillor Hemley, all in favor? Great, thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
And this is yours, Bill, now. You have a report on the OPP station.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. At the December 3rd council meeting, you gave direction verbally that I report back on the options for the county-owned Palmerston OPP station. I've attached the county CAO's report to my report, and I've provided you the resolution that the county council adopted November 21st. There's also an air photo showing the property, its dimensions, and the building that's located on it. It's well known to most of you, I'm sure, as to location. Zoning of the property does allow a variety of residential and commercial uses, anything from high-density residential to commercial to seniors' residences. Just a quick density calculation, I got it to about 12 residential units. But that would be subject to meeting all the zoning requirements that are in the bylaw and getting a proper layout and so forth. This building is approaching its 40th year. I'm just doing a little bit of research into it. It was the new municipal office and provincial courthouse in 1975. It was a 100th anniversary project of the town at the time. The county acquired it for the OPP station in 1999. They paid, I believe, $270,000 for it, $227,000 for it. There's a little bit of information on the building itself. It's about 6,800 square feet. Most of it is on the main floor, 2,300 on the second floor. There's a partial basement. The building, I don't have pictures of it. You've all seen it before. It's let's call it a functional building. It doesn't have the kind of detail that some nicer downtown Palmerston and other older buildings have, but it certainly has been a functional building. Let's put it that way. In terms of options, the issue we're faced with is that the county owns the property and the building, and they're not in a position of wanting to sell it at this point. I have spoken to Mr. Wilson about it, and they've had the land appraised, and I have seen the appraisal, and it's appraised at $340,000. So the options I've identified for council to think about is ask them to defer demolition and hold the land and building until a new use is found. Ask for time for the town to attempt a community development proposal like we have done in other parts of our municipality with the buildings, or offer to buy the property as is and facilitate redevelopment. In the report, I've gone through some of the pros and cons with each of those options. At the end of the day, what it continues to come back to is that the county wants to keep the property. They have they do intend to bring a use to it at some point in the future. From the perspective of county council, they feel that they would rather not have the building there for that. There's a little bit more detail in the county CAO's report as far as the challenges they've faced with the building since they've acquired it. Did a little quick pro forma on the business case. If someone were able to buy it and renovate for $1 million, and you did get 12 units on it, just to cover that cost and not any maintenance or return on investment, you're looking at rents approaching $700 plus utilities. So you can see that, and there are people who can go into much more detail on that, but that just gives you an idea on a development scenario and the challenge that would be faced. I have no idea whether $1 million is a realistic figure to buy and renovate that building at all. So there's some information to suggest that that's probably not enough, but I really can't say that to you. In terms of buying it, what we've done in in the community so far, at least since I've been walking around here, is bought assets like this at very, very low cost and facilitated them out to developers or to others as far as community development. The issue here is that without a willing seller, there's no way of acquiring it at the low price, and I think that's some of the developers who've inquired at the county about it are finding that they do value the land, they want to keep the land, and that's one of the things that I think is good for the town, is if there's a county use that does come to it, to replace the use that's there, then that's a good thing for the municipality. So that's the information I have at this point. I'm happy to try and answer any questions as to what my thoughts are on the asset and so forth, but we'll leave it at that at this point.
Councillor.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Just under the financial considerations, they've got $340,000 for the land and the building, if I understand that correctly. What do they figure the land is worth without the building? Like, I mean, the building's coming down.
So they're putting very little value on the building.
Are they?
My understanding, if I may, through you, Mayor Bridges, they're looking at in the range of 60,000 to take it down.
Right. No, but my question is, with the building off it, what are they figuring the land is worth?
I don't have that.
Councillor Elliott.
I have a few things, as probably you realize, and I think it's a greater asset with the building on it. They say it's going to be an asset with the building off it. I'm sure that's true. Any land's an asset, but it certainly won't be worth the value of what it's going to be. I mean, I don't know whether they'll get the 60,000 they say it's going to take to tear it down. In talking to some contractors, they were suggesting to me, well, it costs them well over $100,000 to tear that building down. So how they're going to get their money out of it and how we're going to have a grassy area, which we don't need. It says right here that we need a grassy area. I don't know. And then one of the concerns is an elevator, if the town bought it, but my recommendation was the town wouldn't have bought it for the town's use. The town would buy it to at least buy it, to turn it over, to sell it to a contractor who would make use as we've done on other things. And if that's the case, if it's a private owner, then we wouldn't necessarily need an elevator. So $150,000, which I was told it takes to put an elevator in, wouldn't be a cost factor at all, if depending on what use the new contractor would have on it. It says also here that sump pump floods all the years I did. Maybe it did flood the floor once or twice, but I can't remember, and I was in that building for many years as a firefighter and as a counselor and as mayor, and I can't remember ever seeing a flood on the floor downstairs. And it seems to me if your sump pump's not working, you should have staff downstairs to have a look at it, and if that's the case, or you have a generator that would kick in and kick that sump pump back up. So I don't buy that. It says here too that the county will need permission of the town to tear it down. Is that correct?
Demolition permit.
So they'd have to ask us for permission to tear it down. So we get to say on whether they want to demolish it or not in that case. So we do have some say without buying it.
Terry, did you or Bill, do you want to talk to?
I'm just saying we have a say. It says right here, they have to have a demolition permission from our community to do it. So that will have to come to us, I would assume, and we will have to make a motion to allow them to demolish it at the time if the county decides not to change their mind, which to this day I assume they're not. Informally, I was told, and I'm not going to say by who, but we were originally, they were offered that building to us for a couple bucks. And I said at the time when I was talking to that person that we should buy it. We should do exactly what I said. We should turn that over And I'm sure as many a contractor would be involved, would like to get involved in a good building as it is and develop it for whatever they want to develop in. I envision apartments, maybe a commercial business, but I envision apartments. And I envision they've got all the assets, they've got parking, they've got everything that's available for them. And again, you don't have to have an elevator. There's access to the bottom floor, or the middle floor. And they have great basement, they could set up laundry facilities and such like. So it's ideal for that kind of thing. I don't think tearing it down is going to do our town of Minto, any good at all. I believe that the cost to tear it down and leave a grassy area, which it says here, their plan is to leave a grassy area. We really don't need a passive grassy area when we're 1 block away each way to a park. That's a waste of their money, a waste of my taxpayers' money, which I pay to the county, and everyone in the town of Minto pays to the county. I think this is absolutely ridiculous. I don't understand their thought pattern. All of a sudden, they went from wanting to almost give it to us to paying $60,000 to tear it down, over $300,000 to buy it. Now, all of a sudden, it's all obviously impossible for anybody to buy it if they want over $300,000. They're determined, or the county or someone is determined that they got to tear that building down. They're not determined that they could use it as an asset. And to give it away for nothing would even be better than to pay money to tear it down. I do believe it was going to cost more than $60,000 to tear it down. So I'm disappointed in the county. I wish they had got a hold of us and talked to us about it. Maybe I'm the only councillor that feels that way. But I'm thoroughly disappointed that they're determined to go ahead and do this. And except for us having to give them permission, we really don't have anything to say. But I guess we do have some say, if that's the case. And I hope that when that comes to our council that we make the right decision.
Terry?
I'd just like to clarify that the county
Maybe you
was-
should, Terry, so you go up to the mic, please.
I'd just like to clarify that the county would require a demolition permit, but it would not be coming through council. It would just be coming through me, provided they meet all applicable laws. I'm forced to issue the building permit. So to me, it's a pretty simple demolition, so it would not be coming through council.
That's pretty disappointing. Thanks.
Well, through you, Mayor Bridge, I have mixed feelings on this, but I feel as a council, it's our duty to provide services and infrastructure to the citizens of Minto. I personally feel that we have too much real estate now, and to add to the inventory, I think is a mistake at any cost. And the county owns it. If they decide they want to demolish it, then, I mean, that's like if I decide I want to tear my house down, then I tear my house down. And you can have an opinion as to whether it's right or wrong, but they own the property. The only mistake I feel that's been made here is, I think, out of courtesy, we as a council should have been notified what their intentions were and what intentions we might have had towards this project. But I'm certainly not in favor of adding to our real estate portfolio by purchasing or assuming this property.
I'm not suggesting that we do. I'm suggesting that it be sold to somebody that will use it.
Well,
Or at least the opportunity. There's no opportunity for anyone to even think about
Well,
it.
there have been developers or individuals that have approached them about buying it, and they've decided that the price wasn't right. So why is it going to be right after we assume it and we try to sell it? It's not going to change.
I'm saying, yes, they've changed the price to make it not right.
Well, I guess I don't know. I'm not privy to that information.
I guess I want to speak to the price change. And if you do recall, when the county was looking at a site for the OPP building, they came to us and they said, we said we might have a site. We went out and got an appraisal on that site. I believe the appraisal came in at $180,000, and the county paid us $180,000. I don't know how we can say to the county, give it to us for $1 or whatever the amount is, and we flip it to somebody so they can make something out of it. If the county has an appraisal of $334,000, that's what we would have to pay, I believe, if we were at the town to get it. So, again, I'm with Deputy Mayor Fisk. I don't think we want to pay $300 and some thousand
Certainly don't.
to get this, because we wouldn't be able to flip it to anybody. And that's where it comes down to, and that's where I see it, Ron. And I understand there's you know, and I guess if the county, I guess we did have some communications through the economic development about maybe a possible use for us. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rick, but the possible use was with them keeping it and we renting from them, not us owning it. And I know this council has talked a couple times about not buying certain pieces of property because we don't want any more property. So I guess I thought that it wouldn't be one of those situations where we would want to go out and get it. And I think CEO White has pointed out the school property. I know when the school property was appraised at $300,000, the previous council said that was way too much. It came down to 60, but that's a totally different situation because the school board didn't want it. They wanted to get rid of it. So we waited it out and we got it down to there. But the county wants this property, and I think down the road they'll develop it.
What is their business plan? What's their thought?
I don't know, Ron. They wouldn't tell me the business plan at
Absolutely,
this
they want the
point.
property for no reason. You know,
Well,
that's,
obviously they want it for a reason
And what
because
is-
they would sell it otherwise.
I just,
You know, I
But
would
they
ho-
can't
I would
maybe
hope-
tell you.
I would hope that the county is a little bit smarter than setting up a green space. I know that 50 square feet of grass will supply oxygen for a family of 4 for a year, but I don't think that's their purpose. I would hope, with us sitting number 2 on the housing issue that you all know of, I would hope that they would be looking at something like that. And like I said, I'm not privy to what the county is discussing either, but I would hope that they have a business plan. And like I said, I hope they're smart enough to do that.
says in here that they're building a grassy area.
right now. But they did say that down the road, they're looking at.
Exactly. I think that, and they can't come out, and when they said it, that question was asked at county council, and they said it, at this particular time, we cannot define anything that we're going to do with it at this particular time. But we feel there's a future use.
And I
That's
do,
what they talked about.
I do agree with Deputy Fisk. It would have been nice if the county had discussions with us, because when people are calling me saying, hey, how come you're tearing down the building, because they read it in the paper, and I just think that was an oversight on the county's behalf.
People are very angry.
Any other discussions?
I guess I see the emotional side of this, and I agree with you, Councillor Elliott, as far as that is concerned, but unfortunately, the bottom line is still the fact that we are not willing to pay that amount of money for the property.
That's
It
right.
is the county's
And I agree with
property, and it's their decision.
I agree.
I agree as well that maybe we should have been made aware of that decision, but there was no mandatory need for them to do that, as it's their property and their decision, totally. It's an unfortunate situation,
Courtesy would have been nice.
and
In our community.
we hope that they, as you say, act responsibly in the future as far as what they plan on putting in that property.
And I thank you, Councillor Caldwell. I just say that I guess maybe what they thought, if the property was $300 and some thousand, there wasn't going to be, we weren't going to be wanting it, but that's the only other thing. And I think they felt through the Economic Development Committee that we had discussed it and looked at a possible sharing of it as a renter, not as an owner. And maybe they took from that we weren't interested in being an owner. And I don't think we are interested in being an owner at $300 and some thousand. So.
Well, certainly not. And the price is right for to tear it down.
Yeah.
The price is right, and they made the price right.
I mean, we have to put a little faith in our people, and, the county is us, really. And I know that we've had some, in the last few years, Minto has really reaped the benefit of a lot of the things that the county has built for us. They have spent some money up here, and I mean, yeah, I'm not real happy with tearing a building down. It's not that old. I mean, they talk about lifespans of buildings, whether it's block, brick, whatever, but we have to put some faith in the county that they will come back to us and say, hey, 3 or 4 years, 5 years, whatever, we will have a building on there for low rental housing or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure whether we have any say in this, so.
I personally, I would consider putting a motion on the floor to ask them to reconsider tearing it down, but I don't think there's any purpose here, because I believe that I wouldn't get a seconder. And I will make that motion then.
I'll second it.
Second by Councillor Hemley. The motion being that the county reconsiders.
And consider selling it at a reasonable price to someone else. I think that would be added with that. And I'll ask for a recorded vote if I could.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion is to let the county reconsider demolition and
And I guess reconsider demolition and then talk to us in a reasonable manner of what we could do, or give it another offer or another.
Or ask for business plans from...
Reconsideration of what they're going to do.
reconsider demolition.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mayor Bridge, I'm not sure about the rest.
Well, we just reconsider demolition and come up with a business plan of what possibility they could do with that building.
County reconsider demolition and
Reconsider the use of the building. How would that be?
provide a business plan for reuse of the building?
Yeah,
Or reuse of the property?
sure.
Which one?
Both.
Both?
Well, they would, no, I don't, we need the building.
So, Mayor Bridge, just so I'm clear, that the county reconsider demolition and provide a business plan for reuse of the building.
Or resale. Or sale, or sale.
Or sale of the building.
Yeah.
So do you want me to read that one more time? That the county reconsider demolition and provide a business plan for reuse or sale of the building.
Okay.
So that's
Yes,
the
that's
motion,
fine.
then
Sure.
you need a seconder on that motion?
Second it.
And then any discussion on
Any
it?
discussion on that?
So we're gonna do, if there's no discussion, then it would be a recorded vote. I'll start with Councillor Elliott, if that's okay, Mayor Bridge.
Yes?
Councillor Hemley,
Yes.
Councillor Faulkner,
No.
Deputy Mayor Fisk,
No.
Councillor Turton,
Yes.
Councillor Caldwell,
No.
Mayor Bridge.
No.
Motion is defeated.
You did better, I thought.
Okay.
You did.
Motion to receive the report. Councillor Turton. Councillor Deputy Mayor Fisk. All in favor? Okay. Opposed? Right.
Councillor Elliott's opposed.
Yep. All right.
Mayor Bridge, the next item for our area is the agreement of purchase and sale for proposed Tim Hortons in Palmerston. The numbered company making the offer is 2398731 Ontario Limited. Copy of the preliminary site plan for the proposed use. It's at the corner of Minto Road and Main Street, or County Road 123. The colored map in the package was at the bottom of an old report. It actually shows another purchase, so you can kind of disregard that map. The relevant map is the next one. The acquisition is part 2, 3, and 5. Part 5 would be the shared roadway, or shared access that would be constructed as part of this development. That would service development on part 1 and part 2. Part 2, of course, would be owned by the numbered company that would be building the Tim Hortons. They would be subject to many of the normal covenants in the agreement of purchase and sale. The one limitation is on building size, and that building that they're proposing for those 2 lots is 2,700 square feet. They also had a covenant in there that they would be 24 months before the building is to be completed. We have already initiated discussion on detailed site planning, so I believe that they will satisfy those covenants. So there's a bylaw in regular session for you to consider to authorize the mayor and CAO clerk to sign any and all documentation necessary to close this purchase.
Okay. Motion?
Just a motion to receive the report
Receive.
and consider the bylaw in regular session.
Councilor Turton? Councilor Caldwell? All in favor? Okay. Next.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. The next report leads the league in acronyms. We have AMO LAS LED street lighting, so it's the Association of Municipalities Local Authority Services LED street lighting program. We actually have a gentleman in the audience who has managed to work his way up here through the snow. So if you have any really detailed technical questions, he's the one to answer it. Also, Gordon and our treasurer and our public works director also assisted in preparing this report, and they have obviously dealt with a number of LED proposals in recent years. Our strategic plan encourages energy conservation and new green energy initiatives. At the 2014 budget, you did tentatively include an additional $5,500 in hydro increases to allocate out to streetlight users. The annual cost of streetlights is assessed to all the landowners who benefit those lights. From those lights, about 70% of that is power and maintenance costs, and 11% is capital contribution to upgrades. We have about 790 streetlights in our inventory. We've been looking at switching to LED lights for more than a couple of years now. We had quite a lot of discussion in the meeting about emerging technology and when is the right time. And I think all of us in the room took quite a lot of comfort in the fact that AMO and LAS were involved, and they had been through a procurement process in finding the supplier for the LED lights. For those who don't know, LAS, or Local Authority Services, through AMO, does a lot of bulk buying of things like energy, hydro, diesel fuel, gas, and so forth. They also do closed meeting investigator services. So they, through group purchasing, they can help keep costs down. And I know as a municipal staff person, you take a lot of comfort when they're involved in this kind of project. There's the first stage of this approach, if council is interested in proceeding, is executing a letter of intent. I believe the letter of intent was attached. There's certainly information in there as well about other municipalities in this program and about the supplier, the other partners, Real Term Energy and Cree. So the letter of understanding would see us move into a partnership where we would have a 10-year agreement where the energy savings is shared 12.4% to the town and 87.6% to Real Term. That's a somewhat flexible amount. If we do sign the letter of intent and after they do their detailed due diligence, there will be a more specific amount in our energy savings agreement. And so they'll have a better idea on the costs of all the work that has to be done. There has actually been quite a lot of background work already put in by the group, but just to let you know that that could change slightly as we move in, if we move into an energy savings agreement. With that discussion will be held within 120 days when they do their cost-benefit audit, and they have to confirm that 463,791 kilowatts of energy, plus or minus 10%. So if there's that kind of savings in it, I gather that it makes sense for them to move forward. We will move forward and bring the energy service agreement to you. There's other things in there about insurance and so forth, but basically what happens is Real Term upfronts the capital cost of replacing all our old street lamps with new LED lighting technology, including the arms and other improvements necessary to make this system work. And in return, they are able to, they receive our energy savings to the tune of 87.6%, and we receive savings in the range of 12.4%. What would happen is our area rating for all our streetlights would essentially remain the same through that 10-year period. We would be suggesting to you, if we do sign an energy savings agreement, that the capital contribution and any savings be put to reserve over the 10-year period, and then after the guarantee is over and the lights essentially come back to you, you always will own those lights, but when the responsibility for taking care of them comes back to you, the municipality will have 10 years of contributions in place to help with that work. The technology is such that we believe that they will last well beyond the 10 years, but I think it would be prudent for council to plan in that fashion. Just a little bit on the financial side of things, we budget about $190,000 annually for street light, hydro, and maintenance, of which $135,000 is for electricity. If we go ahead with this and we do end up signing the agreement, we would not have to allocate the additional $5,500 in costs to the users. And as I mentioned before, we should basically remain with last year's budget. We should get the lights redone in this by the end of the summer and into the maintenance period, and we would no longer have to maintain them. So that's the essence of the presentation at this point. I'm not sure if I've missed anything as far as detail. If any of the people have any questions or comments?
Councillor Caldwell.
I just want to make sure I understand. The pole and the arm that the light is on, that is becomes our property?
It's ours now, and it will still be ours even after replacement.
Oh, so there's no, like we've been talking several years for facade and that to update our lighting. That will or will not happen through this project?
Well, it depends on decorative lighting and so forth. We'll have to look at what technologies they have for that at the time. This is talking about the standard ones, but there are other ones we'll have to talk about. So that would be
our responsibility if we decided on that, or?
No, I think they would take over maintenance of those as well.
Which is a good point, Councillor Caldwell, because basically we're looking at 2015 to do the Harrison.
Right.
Similar to what we have in Palmerston, right?
If I may, we did have a discussion about that, and there was a suggestion we retrofit what we have, and then if we do go ahead in 2014, and then in 2015 we work with them on the new,
right,
and a decorative fixture. Okay. That would become part of the agreement as well. Okay. And we would still own the lights, but they would be responsible for replacing and taking care of them.
Mayor Bridge, through you, on Schedule B, there's a line there, baseline repair consumption, figure of $32,547. I'm just, how was that figure arrived at? And it's my understanding that we have to pay that to them, or a portion of our maintenance costs or whatever that we currently occurs. We have to release a portion of that to them. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we? Is this like over? This particular figure, was that arrived over a number of years at kind of an average, or is?
That's what they calculate based on their assessment at this time. If we sign the letter of intent, they'll do a more detailed analysis, and that figure will be revised upwards or downwards. But that will come out of our hydro bill. So if our hydro bill's $135,000 now, when the new lights go in, they're essentially guaranteeing that savings. So our hydro bill will be $90,000 or whatever, and we'll pay them a certain percentage of that savings, 87%.
Did you want to add?
If I haven't answered that correctly,
that. Yeah, I maybe just come up to the mic so we can.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fisk. I'm Jeff Barton with LAS, and in response to your question, that base repair consumption is based on a 5-year average of your current repair bills.
Thank you.
Maybe just stay there in case.
Yeah, more
We
for you.
got you in there. Anything else, Councillor Elliott?
Light goes out, who fixes it?
Real Term Energy would be responsible to maintain that.
So I would make a call to
I
the
believe-
town, and the town would refer it to,
I believe that's how it would go. There was some talk of them starting their own call center, so they could forward the call direct to them, and they would set up an agreement with a local contractor to continue on the maintenance similar to what you've done here.
so
in
on a
the
time
past.
basis. For example, we had a whole bank out one time on our street, and went to the couple days before they fixed it. And
Right.
there was several complaints come into the community here, and
This
whoever fixed it right away.
This would all be negotiated in the contract, but there are certain standards that have to be met according to highway laws, my understanding is. So they would continue on the same level of service as you're currently getting, if not better if you would like, so.
Right.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. Jeff,
Yeah.
I mean, we all know the hydro kilowatt hours, we're not going south, we're definitely going north. Couple of things. For yourself, you're in the industry.
Yes,
Looking at the list here, there's all kinds of people doing this.
yes.
And I mean, I believe it's the right thing to do. I mean, I deal with this every day. Where are we headed? Like, in your opinion, being in the industry, where are we headed in reference to cost? Gord, 135 bucks, 135,000, I think the number was, for, how's that compare? Like, what is the actual increase in the last 10 years? And what's it gonna be in the next 10 years? Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Jeff?
So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the increase has been around a 2 to 3% increase per year for the past 10 years. I don't know if you
Yeah, it was like under 100,000 a few years ago, and that cost is steadily climbed. We haven't really spent more on maintenance. We perhaps should have, but that's all we have. And the overall levy, it's what they call like an area rate, and it has gone up probably by about 5%. Like, our taxes are generally in that 2 to 4 range, and the street light increase has been going up faster than that, and of course the biggest component is hydro for sure. It's difficult because in our circumstance we don't have like a meter. It's more based on the type of lights we have, and we used to have a lot of mercury vapor. We've gradually replaced them with something better, but this is like light years ahead of even that.
And the latest OEB report that just came out had stated count on a 30% increase over the next 3 years.
Yeah.
That may be overstated, but that's kind of the numbers that you can expect to see as larger increases than just your 2 to 3% cost of living type increase.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do, I mean, you can compare the infrastructure of hydro, you can compare that to roads, bridges, sewers, water systems, and I can tell you that there's a lot of crumbling electrical components out there.
Well, not only that, they've developed a lot of wind and solar, and they need to build more infrastructure to carry that capacity throughout Ontario as well. So there's a lot more than just repairing infrastructure. There's building out. They're trying to build a new line up to Thunder Bay to serve more of the Inuit communities. So there's a lot of development going on as well. Ontario believes the Ontario Power Authority and OEB stand by conservation as the best means of controlling costs, as opposed to building new nuclear or that sort of new generation. So,
How does that fit into our carbon footprint? Would that not be?
yes. So with this, you will obviously there's GHG emissions associated with hydro. And depending on the supply mix in the province, that value of tons per kilowatt hour changes. So as with this, if you're cutting down your energy consumption, say 60%, then you're going to be obviously reducing your GHGs, and that will count towards your CDM plan, which is due this July, which I'm going to be working with Gord on, so.
Thank you.
Councillor Elliott, and then Deputy Mayor
Okay, do
Fisk.
you want me to go first? This is covering all the township lights too? If, at the corners and such like?
This will cover, the only township ones are the Minto Highlands, Minto Pines, so just the rural subdivisions. The bulk of it is in the urban areas too.
So the lights that turn at Pike Lake to go in, and the light that turns at the Blind Line?
I don't
doesn't
think
belong
that
to
one's
us?
on there, no. I think it's just the ones that are in the
I thought the one at Pike
subdivisions.
Lake was.
Might be.
It's
Is
the
it in?
entire town.
It is that one too,
So it will be
yeah.
any road lights that we have, or
rural
line lights and stuff?
intersections.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bulk of it's West Stereo, and then the other parts are Hydro One. And
Hydro One.
we gave, what, 2 years of all our hydro bills that were related to streetlights, and so they're all included. Anything we're getting billed for that's for streetlights.
Okay.
Deputy Mayor Fisk.
Yeah, through you, Mayor Bridge. This is a question for Gord. Could you give us a ballpark figure as to what our reserve will be at the end of this 10-year period?
Oh, I think it's going to be, and I'm guessing here, about 5,000 or 6,000 a year or so is going to be our net. Because it's going to be like, and again, this is preliminary till they do the photos, at 12% for us, yeah. So
I thought it was.
might be a bit more.
Savings around 10.
Yeah, with the maintenance, it'll help too, because we've been spending, I think, anywhere from 14 to 20 on maintenance too, so, and we'll invest it too, so over a period of years. And I would think the LEDs, they're not going up in price, they're coming down, they're one of the few too. So when we have our reserves invested at the end of 10 years, it should be able to replace a significant chunk if they need so. And as we say, 10 years, we hope the useful life will be a lot longer than that too.
Are we talking about $200,000?
Yeah, by the time everything comes in.
Yeah.
Which would give us a nice...
Yeah, we've been talking about this, I'd say, well, Councillor Turton, probably at least 3 terms. And what we like about this is it's no upfront, but there's other ones that are no upfront, but the deferred kickback to the town or payback is so much in the future. And I think what, CEO and Director of Public Works and Wayne Metzger, like, there's some immediate savings to the town, like they're not huge, but and we get roughly a $750,000 project done with no upfront money. So there's a lot of things there too. And I think Jeff understands this isn't a plug and play. There's a lot of electrical work that's got to be done, especially in our older areas, to make sure that we can take advantage, and that is going to be all included too.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No, I think it's a great opportunity. All right. Somebody give me a motion to accept. Deputy Mayor Fisk, Councillor Turton, all in favor? Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you. Thanks, Jeff.
And I think, Annaline, did we have to take a break because there was a 2-hour rule or something? Well, no, I just wondered. I thought it was something to do with the tape.
He's nodding his head yes over there.
Yes? Okay. So, well, right now, we'll just take a 5-minute break. Is good enough? 5-minute break? And then we'll get into the next bit. Thank you. All right. I'm going to turn this over to Councillor Turton there. He's going to take the next bit.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. What a good-looking young couple here, eh?
Couple?
We've got 4 items on the agenda tonight.
Are you going to start a rumor?
Whoops.
A couple of young, good-looking fellas. The first item on the agenda is to do with leaf pickup, and our roads foreman has done a little bit of work. Mike, can you take us through this report, please?
Yep. Mayor Bridge and members of council, at an earlier council meeting, it was requested to research a little bit what it would cost to do roadside leaf pickup. And we have found that there is 2 local companies in the town of Minto that do provide the service, and they provide it to a few neighboring municipalities. They feel that what they do is they usually just spend 1 day a week in each town, so 3 days a week over 3 weeks to provide this service. And the two verbal quotes which we received are $125 to $160 per hour, and based on 90 hours of service to complete the task, it would cost between $11,000 and $14,000. Is there any questions?
Councillor Elliott.
There's a cost now to receiving the leaves at the...
At the dump sites?
Yeah, it's just the cost of a person being there?
Just the cost of the person being there.
Is there any cleanup after from problems that people bring garbage out and such like, or is it just because there's somebody there it doesn't happen?
It usually doesn't happen. They have been, like the residents have been pretty good with it. We have found in the past some people have been abusing some of the sites, but this year was actually really, really well.
And just one more question.
Yes, go ahead, Councillor Elliott.
I'm just going to ask you, Mike, you see a lot of leaves in the gutters now,
Yeah.
even yet they just rake them out and there's really nothing we can do about it but try and clean it up, and sometimes we don't get it cleaned up and the plow picks it up and makes quite a mess.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we
if we don't have leaf pickup, and that's where I get all kinds of calls and I get into a bit of trouble is they blame our community, which we've given people the opportunity, but people are going to continue. I would suggest there's a lot more than not a lot that rake their leaves to the gutter and leave them there.
Yeah.
And we pick them up on our machines or whatever and wreck them, and our plows make a mess. And I think we have to have this, but it seems like a lot of money.
Councillor Faulkner.
Thank you, Councillor Turton, through you. I take it that the residents that live outside the three urban centers would be with like Minto, Pine, and the subdivision outside of Clifford there. I can't see any country properties bringing their leaves in.
No, and really I haven't noticed which people are actually coming in from the rural centers. There may be a few, but we could always keep these locations are going to be used, like if we do go ahead with the vac truck system for leaf pickup.
You'd still keep those?
We'd still have to keep these locations open for them to dump the leaves at these locations as well.
Okay.
So,
thank you.
Deputy Mayor Fisk.
Yeah, through you, Chairman Turton. Do we have any way of determining what our costs are because of leaves that get into the catch basins, and I guess you're vacuuming those out? I mean, that's one of the costs of not picking up the leaves, I'm assuming.
Yeah, and as far as I know, we do have a rotation as per, I think that we do a certain amount of catch basins per year and just have a rolling cycle on that. So that is in the program already. But if some of them do get clogged up with leaves, then we do have to do a little extra work with that as well.
Councillor Coleman.
Is there, through you, Councillor Turton, is there any fines or anything for people that do put them on the street? No? There's nothing, no enforcement?
Property standards would be about the only.
So Mike, basically it would be like garbage pickup. Thursday or Tuesday or whatever, we determine a date, a time.
Yeah.
And you would have your leaves on the curb.
Yeah, yeah. We'd have to set up a schedule with Wellington North right now as well to provide this service, because these contractors do the work for them as well as Grand Valley and Orangeville. The same two companies provide that service for them. They work in conjunction with each other. So we just have to figure out what days are available, what weeks are available. It'll depend on the season as to how fast the leaves are coming down, and have to get it in the newspapers as well.
Councillor Elliott.
One more question again. Wellington North do it already?
Yes.
And are they happy with the service? Do they think it's worthwhile?
They've been doing it for a number of years, and they think it's well worth the while.
Worthwhile service.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
When was the last time we done it, Gord? We did it, sorry. Yeah, have we ever really went into this seriously? Picking up leaves in the town of Minto?
I'm gonna say not directly, it's more when we hired sweepers.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years ago?
Mike?
Through you,
Yep, go ahead.
Mayor Bridge. I believe in the past, just talking to some of the staff that's been on for a number of years, they used to have a vac system of some sort with the town prior, but they found that the people were putting garbage and rocks and stuff out there, and it was getting sucked up and causing damage to the equipment. So then they quit doing it. I'm not sure how long ago that was, but it's been a number of years since they provided that.
Did you propose that question to the contractors that were talking about having?
They never mentioned anything or people abusing the system like that,
Good.
so.
Any other questions? Hearing none then, the recommendation that the Council of the Town of Minto receives the December 10th, 2013 road foreman report regarding roadside leaf pickup for information purposes only, and consider these dollars amounts during the approval of the 2014 operating budget. Can I have a mover and a seconder for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Elliott. Councillor Faulkner, all in favor of this? Against? That's carried. Second item on the agenda. That's right, we're just considering it. Second item is Public Works Director, talk about the bucket truck and it being on the surplus list. Go ahead.
Yes, it was mentioned back during the budget session. I think Councillor Elliott had mentioned it, that to put some numbers together to see what we're looking at for having the bucket truck put onto the surplus list. It's a 1993 Freightliner, and it was purchased in 2008. It's the oldest piece of equipment in the town fleet. We use it mainly for the street lighting or tree trimming. And over the past years, the bucket truck has been used less and less, and you can see by the attached operating budget layout, it shows it decreasing over the years from 2009 until the present. So we thought we'd throw together some things and show you exactly where the money's being spent. There's a mandatory and specialized dielectric testing on different components of this truck per year, and that cost alone is just $300 per year for that. There's monthly testing of gloves. There's specialized gloves, and that costs about $750 a year, which is approximately 1/10 of the $7,000 revenue that was produced by this piece of equipment back in 2012. The budget for annual maintenance of the equipment is $4,000. If the town moves to the LED lights next year, there will be very little need for the bucket truck for the lighting system over the next 10 years of that. So one of the concerns with the loss of the truck is staff's ability to support small jobs like Christmas lights and banners and community groups for the community groups in Minto. In cases such as this, staff can arrange for a contractor to be coming in. If council approves the LED street lighting proposal before yet at this time, staff recommends the bucket truck be declared surplus and sold as soon as the new lights are installed. But if anybody has any questions, then I'll be prepared to answer them.
Thanks for the numbers, it's great. I'm just wondering if instead of, we've got people that are capable of handling a bucket truck, can we rent a bucket truck cheaper than bringing in a contractor with the truck? Is there a possibility of renting bucket trucks? I don't know, just asking.
I don't know. I can't answer that at the present moment, but we do have, the two guys that run it mainly now are both retired part-time.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much, I know one guy said to me that he doesn't enjoy coming out very much anymore.
Pretty cold up there doing it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think he had a shoulder problem too, so.
Okay.
Pretty old, so.
Yeah.
All right.
But I thought I'd throw the numbers together for you anyway, so you could see
thanks.
the decrease over the years.
I can see that, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Councillor Faulkner?
Councillor, Through you, Councillor Turton, the financial considerations, you just put those figures in for us to observe. Are you suggesting that we buy another bucket truck?
No, we're not making any suggestion
I just
whatsoever.
wanted to clarify that.
No.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Fisk.
Through you, Chairman Turton, do we have any idea what the cost is for the contract service? Like, I'm assuming it'd be an hourly rate, and where do they have to come from? Are they coming, would it be reasonably local, or would it be city-type?
No,
Companies?
is it town of Howick?
No,
No, it's North Perth.
They put out a contract for a three-year service on their street light system, and in 2012 it cost them $35,000 for the contractor and all the materials needed for the maintenance on the street light system.
So do we know what the bucket truck cost, what portion of that was the bucket truck?
No, that was just their total expenses for 2012.
And where did they have to come from to service North Perth? Is it somebody in North Perth?
Yes, they're local, yeah. There's
So that,
three
we would
companies.
likely be using somebody fairly local. We're not gonna have
Yeah.
somebody drive from Toronto or London or Windsor and pay them travel time to
No.
do a couple hours of bucket work.
No, that's for sure.
Other questions? So presently our bucket truck is in a good state of repair?
Yeah, yes.
And we plan on going forward with the LED lights, we plan on using it to do the actual installation of, or help with some of those lights, no?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. Mayor Bridge?
Yeah, I was just going to clarify that. I think the way the LED thing is, they do all the maintenance. We don't have to do any of it.
Yeah.
And that's why this could be a surplus situation.
Yeah.
And it would be just straight, if I'm reading the report right, 4,000 is regular maintenance, whether, you know, it's in good shape or not, for a 93 truck. And the gloves and everything, another 1,000. So there's about $5,000 there already, right? Every year we're going to have to do, right?
Yeah.
And everybody knows when a piece of equipment sits around for a long period of time, things start breaking down on it and from non-use.
And you mentioned the two individuals, and I think they're retired. Are they retired now?
Yeah, they're
basically?
retired. We get them out of retirement.
Yeah, and I know a couple times I remember hearing you say basically bad weather or whatever, they weren't going to bother doing it because they weren't coming up to it. It
No.
was like,
No,
so
you
they're
get
getting
to
to
a
the point
point
where we're
where-
going to have to look for somebody else anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? All right, so I think Brian read the recommendation, but I'll read it again, that the Council of Town of Minto receives the December 12th, 2013 from the Public Works Director and approves the recommendation to have the 1993 Freightliner aerial truck remain on the Town of Minto surplus list. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Caldwell. Thank you, Councillor Faulkner. All in favor of this motion? Against? That's carried. Thank you very much. So the third item on the agenda this evening is to do with the DWQMS management review, and on behalf of Daryl, our compliance coordinator, everybody has the document in front of them. Last week, one day, tell you the date, I believe it was Wednesday, December 3rd, a group of us sat here, the management review team, and went through the review, and I'm not sure, everybody received one of these via email? Yes? And so our Jackie has very conveniently put on this one here all the items that we talked about in blue. And it's really handy, and I'm not exactly sure how that worked. That's the way it was on the email as well. Okay? Because I didn't read the email. I read this and I had a little input into it. So basically what we want to do tonight is just take a few moments and talk about it, and also at the end of the night we'd like to have everybody, as we do every year, sign on the dotted line because of standard of care and our commitment to DWQMS. That's something that we have to do. So the other thing, questions, we can't answer them here tonight between the two of us. The email said that we email Daryl and attach everybody's name on it, and then everybody will get an answer back. So, any questions on this?
Yes. Bring you, Councillor.
Yeah, Councillor Faulkner.
We can request that printed off if we.
You can have this one if you want. Or do you want a hard copy to keep for yourself?
No, I don't need a
Okay.
hard copy to keep.
You can have this one.
But I find that a lot easier
Yep,
to read.
myself as well. Anybody that wants this can have it, and we'll just kind of share it. We'll save a treat. And if there is questions,
Good.
Yeah, Daryl said just feel free to email him any questions you have or whatever. It has got to be passed through council, and council's got to acknowledge it.
Really?
well, and, you know, and it's pretty, there's a lot of good information in this. Yeah, and if there is questions, like I said, if you want, you can bring them out and we'll try and answer them. Go ahead, Deputy.
Through you, I noticed in the report that Mark Robertson has all the credentials, but he doesn't have the hours that's required for him to go to the next step or whatever. And do you have any idea how many hours he needs to get there and how quickly that's likely to happen?
1,000.
Another 1,000 hours.
Yep.
And it's my understanding that the Mike Doucette is already there, like he's got all his hours plus all his credentials, is that correct?
Mike Doucette has his level 1, as does Mark, and Mark is going for his level 2. So he's got another 1,000, but he'll be making that, according to Jim Kerr, I think by September of 2014. So he's went farther than what I expected. Like he's getting right into it, jumping right on it, so they're doing very well.
So once he gets those hours, then is he qualified to run our system?
Yes, he is.
And that happens immediately, or we have to wait till the end of the contract, or?
Well, we'll have to wait till the end of 2014.
Okay.
But after that, he's got it by the horns, and he can run with it. And then we have a backup with Mike Doucette to be his backup. Plus, we hire a full-time guy, and then we'll start working with our water guys, the guys that would like to take the wastewater system, which there are a few that want to do that. So our training is all ongoing.
We have a succession plan, a good succession plan in place then?
Yes, we do. Yep.
And Todd Rogers?
Yes.
He's training to be Daryl's replacement, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
And is Daryl considering retirement soon, or is he still, he hasn't said?
I don't know, one day is yeah, one day is no, so it's just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
I think Daryl's still trying to feel out his new boss. Are you still new? 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years new, yeah.
Daryl is definitely planning, and Daryl is definitely bringing Todd along. Todd is extremely interested, and Daryl has a lot of faith in Todd, and going forward, I think it's going to be good. But those were extremely good questions. I do know there's a good succession plan, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but in the town of Minto, we need a level 1 to operate.
That's correct.
And likely a level 2 to be the supervisor.
That's correct. And that's where Mark Robinson's headed. And he
so,
should be there by September of 2014.
Right.
Okay. So the recommendation, any other questions? Sorry,
I'll move the recommendation.
Okay, thank you. The recommendation is that the Council of Town of Minto receives the Compliance Coordinator, December 12th, 2013, report regarding DWQMS Management Review, and all members of Council review, approve, and endorse the report. Mayor Bridge is going to move it. Councillor Hambley will second it. All in favor of that motion? Against? That's carried. Thank you. So the fourth item here is, it's going to be extremely interesting. It has to do with year in review from 2013. So what we're going to ask here is all questions asked at the end.
Okay.
So no butting in.
Yeah, so is there popcorn being served?
That's coming on the singing.
Oh, very good.
So go ahead,
Yes.
Director Hanson.
Okay, just a quick overview of what took place in 2013 with the Public Works Division. Some of the there's the motley crew there.
Holy smokes.
They got that picture up in the office saying this is Brian's family.
Well, it looks like the prison down Orange County.
I don't admit to that.
Correctional Center.
Basically, we started out with, of course, our ice storm, high winds, branches down throughout the town. It was a mess all over the place. It cost us a lot of money to bring everything back up to half decent, and it's still not that way. The rural communities still have trees out in the ditches, as you could see, and it was a mess. So we had lots of storm damage, along with a bad winter. There's our guys doing a little bit of tree trimming.
Is that the 93 Freightliner?
That,
Sorry
It's in good shape.
yes. Ayton Road. We put up the signs for it. It is now completed, and if you haven't had a chance to go look at it, it's excellent. Excellent job they did on that work. Excellent. You can see the new asphalt down. All the ditches have been reseeded and topsoil put down. We restored to new the Palmerston Cemetery sign. And the removal of the old buildings, one in Harrison and one in Palmerston at the cemetery. Those are the buildings requests. Yeah. Yeah, some of the benches were replaced. They weren't bad shape.
The good ones at the right, right?
There's a picture of the picture of the new bench to be installed in Clifford. There's a columbarium in Clifford, which has now been landscaped, and
Very nice.
a lot of compliments on that. Harrison Cemetery flower beds. Catch basin replacement. If you can just hold it here just for a second. This is in Clifford, and I'm not sure what corner is that.
That's Brown and
Brown Street and Nelson. You can see on the left-hand side, it shows a gas line coming out of the thing, and I was driving with Mike coming back from the Queen Street project, and I looked at him, and I've been here 2 years, and I says, I've never noticed it. He's been here how long? 5, 6 years?
Yeah.
And he's never noticed it. What it is a catwalk grate over top of a poured in, oh no, it wasn't poured in place, it was a PVC pipe, smooth wall pipe, and somebody stuck a 2-inch gas line in to mark it so nobody'd run over it. But I can guarantee if a car went over top of that, it would go right in. So it was replaced, and the safety issue now is gone, so we might have a picture of the finished product here.
Did you keep the gas line?
No, it's good out.
Souvenir. Future use.
There's a lot of issues with infiltration around our catch basins, which cause problems like this. There's some finished catch basin work. Been brought up to the standards and all the safety issues taken away. Clifford, Clark Street in Clifford.
Who lives on
Beautiful job, beautiful job.
Who lives
done
on Clark Street?
As you can see.
Preferential treatment or what?
Yeah,
What a
yeah.
shyster.
That looks enough.
New curbs, sidewalks, asphalt. If you haven't been up there, just come on up and drop in for a tea and I'll show you around.
It's the nicest street in the town.
Yeah. Queen Street and Clifford. This was part of the water main project that our guys were doing. And we run into a situation, just if you can go back there for a sec. Sorry. You can see the new manhole up on the left-hand picture corner. What had happened here is somebody poured in place a concrete catch basin. So when it was being replaced, it was poured over top of the water line. And when they started taking the catch basin out, it yanked the water line right out with it. I don't know when it was done or who done it, but it run into a major problem and we ended up with excavation this size. So you never know, every time you stuck a shovel in the ground, what you're gonna run into. So,
Did it pull out some of the feeder lines of the homes?
no, just the main. It was bad enough, the 6-inch,
Yeah.
when you put a hole in it.
You get a shower.
Oh, yeah. New fire hydrant was installed also with that water main project. Just more pictures. Harrison Lift Station, replacing pumps. You can see the old pumps and how cavitated they got. So we replaced a few of them.
How old was that, Brian? Roughly?
3 years old, I think. Yeah.
That's good.
Palmerston new well 4, and it's completed now and top dressed and grass seeded and all around now. Palmerston Daycare Center, we leveled the hill there, topsoiled and seeded it. Smoke testing. This is at the top of the high school in Palmerston. Showing, this was never indicated on the previous inspection that was done by Gamsey Manual, but it shows the courtyard in the center of the high school. That was a catch basin, and all the roof leaders go down into this center court and into that catch basin, and there was one connection from the roof leader down into the catch basin. So that was a lot of water going into our sanitary sewer. So that's going to be corrected early spring, I think, next year by the school board. Palmerston Well 4 updates. This is inside the building. New piping, new electrical. There's your pressure board and pumps. That's the old interior on the left, or on the right, sorry. New water meter installation took place in Palmerston. Just shows boxes of meters. Some ditching work. I'm not sure where that is. Maybe you can.
Green Lane, or Green Lane.
Green Lane.
Yeah.
Just more pictures of the ditching. Tile repair. This was on off White's
Seventh
Road.
line. Yeah, White's Road and the 7th line.
White's Road, 7th line.
And 7th line.
At the dead end
Okay.
portion.
Jay's parking lot
Where's that?
shows
County
the
Road 7.
No, White's Road and
Line
the
seven.
7th line.
Turn left.
Okay.
Jay's parking lot.
Yes, that's right. I remember that.
This is where the cavitational infiltration and everything else was done here. Just shows the materials that were found inside there. That's all been fixed up and taken care of now. Harrison Lagoon fencing, that was all completed this year. It's all brand new around it now. There's parking lot painting was done throughout all 3 towns. Hot patching, bad one across from Patty's in Clifford. Caused us a lot of headaches last winter. The hot patching on the sides of the road. Did some in Palmerston on Wellington Street. Side Road 3, we removed some of the high points along that road. So your visibility is much better, and it caused drifting in the wintertime, so.
Is that the new roundabout, that picture?
Yeah, no, that's coming next year.
Going around.
So it just showed you back one there that how much visibility you now have looking down the road coming up to that corner. Trucks, our equipment, we're starting to build on our replacement of our fleet now. We sandblasted the rims on some of the trucks and painted them to make them look a little bit better. And on the frames. This is corner of Queen and Cavan, the before and after of somebody planting vines up the stop signs and.
Well, I wonder who done that, hound old boy.
He didn't live on Cavan.
Cabin?
You lived on cabin.
Tree planting, 200 more trees were planted. The guys love planting trees. John Street in Harrison was made into a buggy pathway. Trees were trimmed up and the area was leveled with chips. Roadside brush cutting. This made a big impact on some of our roads throughout, and I would suggest that we keep on going in that direction with this, because a lot of these trees are encroaching on right onto our roadways now. So there's School Road 7 before and after.
But now we don't.
Minto fourth line. This has been a up and down thing with the council, I know that, but as you can see, the slope of the road's in between 11 and 10, or 10 and 11%. We went and pulverized it this year and tried to bring it back into its regular shape.
Slope meter.
Yep.
The slope meter.
There's a slope meter.
Slope meter. Famous slope meter.
Is it calibrated properly?
Yeah. Bridge sweeping. Oh, a couple of our new replacement trucks.
Whoa.
Here shows the bridge being swept
Video.
with a new, this is the new sweeper that we got for the front of the backhoe.
John Deere.
It's a John Deere backhoe, yes.
Gonna hit the bridge. Yeah, that's great. Go, turn left.
Just shows you how the unit works, and very good investment.
It's picking it up.
Yep, it picks it up inside, we lift it up and then open the hatch and it dumps it into the truck.
Great.
And a Merry Christmas from the Public Works Department.
That's so sweet. I love you, Brian.
So, what are we doing? Just accepting that?
Let's see if there's any questions.
Well, how can you not accept that?
Okay, so any questions? Thank you, Deputy Mayor Fisk.
Through you, Chairman Turton. Now that we've got rid of the bucket truck, how are we going to trim those trees that you showed in there?
Well, the best way to do it, because we never did very much in the first place, is we'd contract it out. We had 2 separate contractors in this year because of the storm.
Yeah.
And it's going to be much better. And then I think Westario Power had 3 crews in doing up around the wires and such. So they took care of a lot of them too. So.
Councillor Caldwell.
Oh, okay, I was just gonna ask the status
Oh,
of.
pardon.
Oh, you're not
Sorry.
done?
1 second.
Yeah, and the other question is there any reason why we don't remove the snow on the new sidewalk out to Tim Hortons on the, what would it be, the north side of the road?
That was, when the snow first started, there was a couple of driveways there that they still had the blankets and cones on. They have removed that. It's still pretty, I'm gonna say. Soft, yeah. And we'd like to minimize the damage on at least that side. We have opened the north, I guess it'd be the west side of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
And we're maintaining it down to William Street, I believe it is, on both sides.
Okay.
Are you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished.
Councillor Caldwell.
I was just gonna ask the status of Jay's parking lot. That's not finished yet, right? No.
It's finished up to the granular point where we can drive on it for now. We're not going to put pavement on it right away.
Oh, you
So the
can
back-
drive on it? So,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, you can park on it.
I
The granular's back
guess I
in
haven't been
and
by it in a while, but I
compacted.
haven't noticed, okay.
Yep.
Councillor Elliott?
The parking lot in Jay's, is it, I see you're still not going in and out, or is it?
No, it's
Oh, it's
open.
available, I know, I
Yep,
just,
yep.
yeah, okay, I thought I saw snow in it, and,
It should be all cleaned up.
All cleaned up? Is it, did you pave it yet?
No.
No.
You
it
couldn't, you
won't be
got
paved.
beat by the weather?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
Any
just
other questions?
on the snow, whoops, sorry.
No, sorry.
On the snow issue, last night, we had the snow removed from all 3 towns. And I think there was around 90 tandem or triaxle loads of snow removed.
I couldn't believe how much snow
90
was there.
trucks.
Wow.
Triaxle.
4 centimeters, yeah, right.
Where do we
That's what
dump
they
it?
No, yeah.
I got your Facebook.
That's a lot of snow.
There's a lot of snow.
Where do we dump it, Brian?
Obviously, you didn't.
It was on George Street, just.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
you did.
believe
Halfway
it.
down
Yeah,
George
your
Street.
place?
Yeah, your place?
No, we got 3 dump sites we dump it at. Industrial Park and
In Palmerston.
Palmerston.
The Lagoon Road in Harrison, and at the Minto shop in Clifford, in the parking area.
Perfect. Any other questions? So, can I have a mover and a second, or can we accept the report? Mayor Bridge? Councilor Hembley, all in favor of the report?
Great job, guys.
That was,
Thanks,
Very
guys.
good.
Mike Orth, was that you responsible for that?
The slideshow? Yeah.
Pretty talented, thanks a lot.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Yeah. Okay, additional items. Rick, did you wanted to?
Well, I was just gonna mention about the Christmas party that the Minto Fire Department put on, the Harrison Station. Great meal and some good entertainment, some great conversation. So good to see some friends, and just kudos to them.
Excellent. And I guess my next item would be, can you lead us in some kind of sing-song, Merry Christmas? What should we sing?
Start spreading the news.
We're gonna do a quick, you want to,
Well,
Have you got an idea?
I want a unanimous vote that everybody's gonna join in.
with everybody
know the
gonna
words.
join in?
Yeah, what song is it? Then we'll give you the vote.
We just wish you.
I'm looking forward to singing with
Making a
you.
recorded
I'm
vote.
sexy and I know it.
All right, ready? Are you gonna sing?
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
There we go. Thank you.
Better than any group you ever sang.
Oh, that's good. I think we should take this on the road. Moved by Councilor Turton, second by Councilor Faulkner. The Committee of the Whole convenes in the Town of Minto Council. All in favor? Good. Oh, no, I don't notice the motion. No, sorry. I didn't ask that. Moved by Councilor Elliott, second by Councilor Faulkner. The Council of Town of Minto ratifies the motions made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor? Great. Moved by Deputy Mayor Fisk, second by Councilor Turton, the bylaw number 2013-100 being the bylaw to reduce speed limits in advance of curve warnings and to erect stop signs at intersections of the 13th line and School Road 7 and Margaret Street North and William Street West, Harrison, be introduced and read in first, second, third time, and passed in open council and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Faulkner, second by Councilor Caldwell, the bylaw number 2013-0101 being the bylaw to appoint public works staff as bylaw officers be introduced and read in first, second, third time and passed in open council and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Caldwell, second by Councilor Elliott, bylaw number 2013-102 being the bylaw to authorize an offer to purchase 6163327 Canada Inc., Part Lot 24, Concession 1, 61R 186, Part 1, Palmerston Industrial Park be introduced and read in first, second, third time and passed in open council and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Caldwell, second by Deputy Mayor Fisk, the bylaw number 2013-103 being the bylaw to authorize the mayor and the CEO to sign a letter of intent with the local authority services partner Real Term Energy for design and upgrade, installation and maintenance of LED streetlights in the town of Minto be introduced and read in first, second, third time and passed in open council and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councilor Turton, second by Councilor Elliott, the bylaw number 2013-104 being the bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the December 17, 2013 Committee of Council meeting be introduced and read in first, second, third time and passed in open council and sealed with the seal of the corporation. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Faulkner, second by Deputy Mayor Fisk, the Council of Town of Minto adjourned to meet again at the call of the mayor. Got that one?
Agreed.
Good. Thank you, everybody, and have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New
Merry
Year.
Christmas to you.
No.